What's up, guys? Welcome to another Sunday YouTube live stream. We're going to crack it through all your questions. I see there's a bunch of them building up already. So my apologies for starting late, and let us just get cracking. We're going to crack right into it. So, hey, Alex, have you ever lost a frame through text? If so, how do you get it back? Good question. Yeah, sometimes if I wasn't like paying attention, I was tired and I was kind of out of it. Just get it back by doing what you were doing earlier. So, for example, say hypothetically speaking, the girl is constantly shit testing you, and then you're tired or whatever, you're drunk or something like that, and you fail one of her shit tests, right? Okay, not a big deal. Just next day when she gives you another shit test, you just pass it. So you get it back by just doing what you were doing earlier. It's really as simple as that, I think. There's no like special trick you have to do or anything like that. All right. What do you think of the red pill community and the concept of branch swinging, women going to a man with higher sexual market value? I think the red pill community is partially bullshit, partially has elements of truth, but incorrect interpretations of it. So, for example, the common red pill community is, it's all about sexual market value, which I agree with to an extent. That's like the basic tenet of it. But, they usually take it out of extent and just say, like, if you're, born ugly, you're fucked. If you're attractive, you're set for life. That's kind of like the extreme they exaggerate to. In reality, you have a decent amount of control over your sexual market value with enough time and effort. So stuff like that. Branch swinging, women going to a man with a higher semi. I mean, that's really not true. The majority of the time, if you think about it, how many times do you see like a hot chick with a relatively ugly guy, right? Usually women stick with comfort. So for example, they say a woman is an 8.5, right? She's dating a 6, right? Because they went to high school together, or they were in the same class or whatever, the same social circle, whatever. Somehow he got her, probably through comfort, right? And then she sees a 10, right? Usually, most of the time, the woman is going to probably come up with excuses. She's like, oh, he's too hot. He probably has, whatever. He probably is too self-centered, or he probably won't be into me, or I'm not worthy, blah, blah, blah. And usually people, not women, just people in general, are creatures of comfort. So they're just going to take the path of least resistance and do whatever is more comfortable for them. So I just don't think it works out that way the majority of the time in general. Otherwise, you would see every single girl otherwise you never have guys who are attractive who are struggling to get laid, but you see those all the time, so, and vice versa, you wouldn't see, you never see a girl with an unattractive guy, but you see that quite often as well. All right. In a relationship, women leave men because men become too comfortable or lose sexual market value. What are ways where you can keep leveling up while in a relationship? Go to the gym, focus on your business. I would say probably those two things. Don't get fat. Don't become a slob. Don't become broke. Don't become lazy. Keep developing yourself more or less the same way that you were doing before you got into a relationship. And I would say that women want a guy who not even so much S&B, just has a purpose or a passion. So if you're just like not doing shit and just sitting around the house, women will generally lose respect, which I think is what happens quite often with guys when they get into a relationship. Like they just kind of like, oh, finally. And then just like completely just don't do shit. They just play like Call of Duty all day and shit like that. And eventually the woman loses attraction. I've seen this time and time and time again. What's the basis for an amazing profile that will keep you the top tier cream of crop? Watched almost all your vids and use similar concepts and having some difficulty assuming pictures are fine. Well, pictures are by far the most important part of the profile. Quite often I found that when guys say they think that their pictures are, fine or perfect, they usually are not. So my advice to you would be to actually make a post in the forums with a screenshot of your profile, and we can see, where exactly your pics are at. So I would almost bet that's probably the problem right there. I don't think it's the bio, it's the pics, unless you're saying something really crazy in the bio. Like, I'm going to like chloroform you in my basement and like fucking, have my grandpa jerk off on your face or something like that. If you're not doing anything super cringy or gamey, then it's probably the pictures. But in terms of the bio, I have a whole video on this, but basically just want to Not say anything dumb or stupid, and just basically convey your personality, and also throw in some solid DHVs and screen a little bit. That's basically the premise of a good bio. All right. Assuming also the same for what you said in an earlier video, that is, of course, to use the same bio basically across all. So this is related to your question. So yeah, we kind of covered that. Last week, Eli said that they didn't want men being a robot with responses and not being true self. How do you develop your own style of game? Practice, 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 trial and error. So when I was getting started with learning texting and pickup, there was no playing with fire. I didn't have. It would have been awesome if I had a place where I could just like post screenshots of my interactions and someone would tell me how good I was, how good it was. And there was nothing like that at the time when I started. So a lot of it, that's not to say that I completely invented everything on my own, far from it. I definitely had a lot of sources of inspiration, but there was nothing like where you could just post, whatever, your interactions and someone give you feedback, like actually accurate feedback. Like that shit did not exist. So as a result of that, I had to develop my own style of game. And I think that the one downside, almost, I wouldn't say downside to, what do we do, but sometimes guys get over reliant. And I think I try to be pretty good about, not spoon feeding people lines all the time and just making them think for themselves, because honestly it winds up hurting themselves. I think guys get too addicted to just having, the instant, like, oh, I can get like the perfect line constantly, and they just turn off their brains because it's easier. So you develop your own style of game just by practice and just being an extension of who you are, right? So for example, if you watch my videos, or especially if you've hung out with me, you know that I'm kind of, my personality is, I'm pretty, I would say, quirky, funny, amusing. I don't know. I like to laugh and shit, crack jokes. I don't take things too seriously. That's just kind of the way I've always been. So my text game is more or less an extension of that, right, in a sense. So if you are, for example, super intense and, whatever, one of those people who likes to go deep, then maybe, my style wouldn't really be that appropriate for you. Maybe you want to tweak it a little bit again. You still want to apply the underlying concepts, but the exact things that you say would probably be different, right? So I have a lot of friends, for example, who are not to pick up at all, and they get a lot of pussy, but they have pretty different styles than me because they're just different people. We have different personalities, but the underlying concepts, more or less, of leading, not being needy, smoothly escalating, are more or less the same. Are taller girls find upmost more submissive, or is it supposed to? I really wouldn't know. I don't really go for girls over 5'7", so I just prefer shorter girls physically. I can count on my hands the number of girls who I've been with who are over 5'9", so that's just personally not my thing. So I don't think there's probably any correlation. If anything, it probably goes the other way. What are alternatives to where are you from originally in the start of the combo? I was born in my city, and less opportunities to advance combo by saying it from her when she's already isn't exciting. I mean, yeah, I think you asked this question in the last live stream. I mean, just really you want just anything, any basic get to know you question that can lead to a conversation. So, for example, you can ask, you can even ask something as simple as, "How's your day going?" Right? It sounds kind of boring or cho text game or whatever guys want to call that, but at the end of the day, you're just creating a conversation thread. Sometimes you have to ask somewhat basic, boring questions to get the conversation started, and then you can build on that. So, for example, you could say, "How's your Sunday fun day going?" Right? Because today's a Sunday. The girl might say, "Oh, pretty good. Just went to the beach. Whatever. Sounds like you're not from a beach city. Oh, whatever. Just worked on the farm. How about you?" And you might say, you can just build on that. Like, "Oh, cool. Like, I took you for like a milkmaid or something like that." Just build on that. Like, again, it's almost like. Think of it like ad-libbing or something like that with stand-up comedy. You just kind of build on what the other person does. So I think it's really comes down to being as simple as that. But you don't need to say anything crazy or gamey to get the conversation going. Just keep things pretty simple. I think quite often the mistake I see is guys go too complex instead of too simple. What happens if they're really dry? Like, why do you do, for example, how do you make a girl like you again? What happens if they're really dry? Like, why do you do, for example, how do you make a girl like easy? I don't really understand the question. So just rephrase that question because I'm having a hard time understanding this. What is your lay count now, bro? I never really count. It's probably it's like I always keep saying, between 300 and 500. I don't think it's above 500. That would just be a lot, although it's probably creeping up on that. And probably is above 300. That's kind of my ballpark, and I think it's pretty accurate. Hey, Trouble, what are the best cities for threesomes? Best cities for threesomes. I don't know. I would say more liberal, open-minded cities that have a more prominent sex scene. So, for example, like Los Angeles, New York, Boston, San Diego, Miami, cities like that. Probably going to be better for threesomes where girls are just going to be more open-minded. How do you deal with not having your place and getting to her place? So this is the answer no one likes to hear is get a place. That's really the best solution to that question. Honestly, it's really hard. Just not having your own logistics is going to make things so much harder for you. I think that guys almost sometimes think of having a place as some unreachable goal when in reality it's really not that hard. You just need somewhat of a sustainable income. You could even live with like 5 roommates. When I first moved out, okay, so I'll give you guys a little background about myself. When I was in college, I was living in a house with, I want to say 10 people or something like that. It was crazy. Like I just had a tiny room. Then my senior year of college was a house with 6 people, so slowly moving up in the world. Then when I first moved to Los Angeles, I was living in the ghetto. It was so bad that when I would walk outside at like 1 a.m. to just whatever, I used to smoke cigarettes back in those days to have a cigarette. Like I would just lock eyes with like a homeless guy who's just like kind of like a zombie, like trying to like claw at the gates of the house that I lived in. So yeah, lived in the hood, 10 people, super fucking shitty circumstances. So, but I think that's better than not having your own place at all. You just kind of move on from there. So then I slowly kind of leveled up my living arrangements as I started making more money. But to answer your question, I have a whole video on this. It's one of my early videos. Basically, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get her to sexually commit. So set the whole thing up as a fuck date, meaning she should be on board with the idea of you guys having sex before you even get to logistics. And then when you do that, you simply ask her, after it's already established you guys are meeting to fuck, you simply ask her, is your place an option? Right? And just phrase that question. And half the time, it won't be, honestly. Like, she might live with her parents. She might be weird about having people over, and there's nothing you can do in those circumstances besides get a hotel, honestly. So I have a buddy who he spent I think he was spending like over $1,000 a month on hotels at one point because he was just like, couldn't pull to his place, couldn't pull to the girl's place. And at that point, I was like, dude, like, just get your own place. You're going to save money. You're spending so much money on hotels. You're literally going to save money if you just get your own like 1-bedroom apartment. So yeah, all right. Damn, questions are piling on. Thanks for a lot for these live streams every week and answering every single question with extreme detail and depth. You're a very humble, solid guy. You know that. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It means a lot. And we're gonna have a very interesting live stream next week. So I'm still gonna do these where I'm just gonna be just me and answering questions in depth. But next weekend is gonna be, I was gonna announce it then, but we'll just say it now. Bradicus is gonna come on, and then we're gonna have some very interesting guests on next month and the following month. So we're gonna be doing these a lot more with just like a lot of interesting guests, so you can get more than one perspective. Hi, Alex. This girl I texted followed me on Instagram. We talked for 2 days. I ended the convo. Should I hit her up? It's been 4 days. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't understand the purpose of ending the convo. I would just have, it looks like things were going well. Why not just make plans? There's no need to be, sporadic about it. But yeah, I mean, the longer you wait, you're not gaining anything. If anything, she's just forgetting about you. So yeah, hit her up now and then smoothly move things towards the meetup. What are some other good openers? I'm using Hey Trouble too much. One that I've been doing a lot recently is, hey, I like your style. It's been working pretty well for me. So I've been doing that a lot with Instagram and Tinder. That one works pretty well. I find that I get probably a higher response rate than Hey Trouble. Any cons of living in Miami? The fucking heat in the summer. So sometimes it's like a sauna walking outside of here. That's one. There's a big club culture, which some people might like. I don't. I'm not big on clubs or whatever, all that shit. So when I was living in Austin, Texas, I preferred the nightlife there a lot more because it was very bar-centered. So in Austin, you'd go out, and it's just a bunch of dive bars after dive bars. Every place has like live music, but you can have an area where you can talk to people. And that was just like more of my kind of scene. Versus Miami, you do have some places like that, but a lot of places are just like it's just like there's that club culture, which I just don't like that much, but you can avoid it by staying out South Beach. There's a lot of like wannabe sugar babies and shit like that. Less so than LA, but still a decent amount. But of course, again, you can get around that. But I would say that's it. I mean, Miami is a fairly cool city. It's not that big. It's also not that, I would say Miami is actually not that advanced. So like LA, New York, they're just much more cutting edge in terms of tech or, whatever, like lifestyle, food, whatever, anything. Like Miami is a little bit more like 10 years ago or something like that. So I did enjoy living in LA, just the fact that like all the newest and latest shit was just always there. So I like that aspect of it and kind of miss it a little bit. But there's also a lot of pros of living in Miami. It's a lot cheaper here, for example. You can get a lot more for your money. Girls are extremely hot. I think Miami might have the hottest girls possibly in the world. It depends on what you're into, but if you like big booty Latinas with fake tits, then Miami is your place. And that is exactly what I like. There's also some cool people here, so pros and cons. I'm 25 and moving out of my parents' place in a week, have 200 plus numbers. Holy shit, from cold approach apps over the last few years. I want to re-engage them all at once. I move. What's a good text to send them all? You could just mass blast. Why don't you just mass blast a meme or something like that? And then, or like something like, hey, stranger, anything along the lines of that. Just some very generic opener, some very generic thing that you can just copy and paste and then just see kind of who responds to you. You'll probably, those 200, you'll probably get like 20, 40 of those girls responding to you. So then you can just kind of pursue, and then a lot of them will probably fall off as the conversation continues. But yeah, I would do something super simple. If a girl gave me brain at my place and we call it for 30 minutes afterwards, I text her the next day, me brain. What does that mean? Gave me brain at my place. Is that like a term that I haven't heard of? I'm not sure what brain means, but okay. So we cut off for 30 minutes afterwards. Should I text her the next day to make her feel comfortable? I'm assuming you guys fucked. Correct me if I'm wrong. If that's what that means. I've literally never heard that term before. But yeah, I mean, I typically, after I hook up with a girl, I send her the morning after text. I usually text her even the night of, just so the girl doesn't feel whatever, like used or like I just wanted to fuck her and bounce. Even if I have no intention of seeing the girl again, unless she was a real piece of shit, I'll text her night off just to whatever, just to make her feel better. Just like I feel like it's like a common courtesy or whatever. I mean, to keep the vibe and things warm before she loses interest, I just want to make her chase me. Why? Guys are always trying to overcomplicate text game and doing all this unnecessary shit. Like, you'll never see me go into an interaction thinking, how do I make this girl chase me? How do I make this girl qualify to me? These are not even thoughts that enter my mind. It's all superfluous, whatever shit. My goal is to meet the girl and to bang the girl, right? That's really what my goal is, right? And to set things up in an optimal way. So it's irrelevant. So chasing will quite often happen as a byproduct of that, but it's not necessary, right? That's not my intention. Nor do I recommend it be yours. Hey, I don't have problems with getting girls to be sexual and exchange numbers from online, but I tend to flake to hang out. How often do girls flake on you, and how can I reduce flake rate? It really depends. Okay, this depends on where I'm at. For example, in Poland, there's a lot less flaking than, say, in Miami, right? But okay, let's say where I'm currently at with my current style, I would say that, and also depends on how you define flake. Like, for example, if a girl says, hey, I'm sorry, I'm just not feeling when, can we hang out another night? Some guys might think of that as a flake. Some guys might think of that as a rescheduling. So it just depends on how you define the word flake. But if we define it as, when you have plans and for whatever reason, any reason, the plans don't happen, I would say it's probably like 70%. It's pretty high. Usually girls will want to reschedule, something will come up. Again, you got to keep in mind, before you meet the girl, if you haven't met her yet, you're very bottom of the totem pole priority. If she's somewhat attractive, she has hundreds and hundreds of guys hitting her up, right? So you don't have really any value in her eye. And you can't really even blame her for that because it's just the way the dynamic is. Like, think about it. Like, okay, like if you were thinking about donating some money to charity, right? Like you're just feeling generous one month and you have all these charities hitting you up, right? They don't really have that much value in your eyes, right? Because it's like, okay, yeah, these people want something from me. Oh, it's almost like, it's not to say that, you want something from the girl, but it's almost like that kind of thing. Like you have the power in that situation versus in that situation, she has the power, right? This changes after you guys hook up, right? So that's why I'm a huge advocate of, trying to make sex happen as fast as possible, especially if you like the girl. So I would say it happens fairly often, but quite often I'll just reschedule. So for example, the girl who I hung out with last night, we rescheduled twice before meeting up, right? I just stayed pretty persistent and I was cool about it, but I also wasn't a pushover. Like last night she was like sort of hesitating on coming over. She's like, I don't know if I should. I was like, come on, you're not gonna flake on me again, are you? Because we're talking on the phone. She's like, okay, fine, I'll come over. So I would say stuff like that. You can reduce your flake rate by being persistent, by not being a pushover at the same time as well. By getting the girl to invest, that's probably the biggest thing you can do. If you want to reduce flaking, get the girl to invest. The more a girl is invested, the less likely she is to flake, because then she has more skin in the game, so as to speak. Do you think guys misapply your advice a lot? For example, I tried sending a girl a picture of my dog as part of banter. When you do it, they react positive because they're your friend. Yeah, I do think, unfortunately, guys misapply my advice a lot. I try to be extremely practical and straightforward because I know that's going to happen. And I always try to give a lot of examples. Hopefully that kind of lowers the amount of misapplication. But yeah, I do think, I don't know, like for some reason in the playing with fire community, I see a lot of guys who are just like overly gamey. And I wonder if part of that is myself to blame, because like they see me being like funny and witty and they try to like one up me, but I don't know, it just doesn't really flow well. I'm not really sure. I think a big part of that is also from other pickup channels. So I don't think it's all my fault, or I don't even think it's majority my fault. But yeah, so I do think that guys misapply my advice a lot. I try to be very vigilant about correcting it and making sure that guys understand my material properly. So that's why it's important that if you're taking, for example, if you saw one of my videos and you're just not having success with it, before you dismiss the advice, make sure you're actually applying it correctly. So, that's why I spend every single day in the forums answering people's questions. It's not because I have nothing else to do. It's because I want to make sure people are actually properly using my advice. So you just make a post and then, eventually I'll comment and make sure you're applying my advice correctly. Like, for example, I'll just give you guys a quick example. We had a guy today in the forums, right? And he was like, hey, dude, I think I'm shadow banned from Tinder. I was like, okay, like, why do you think so? He's like, well, I used to have this bad profile and it was getting some matches, and now I have a good profile and it's not getting any matches, right? And I just had a feeling that his good profile wasn't that good. So I was like, post a screenshot of your profile. His profile fucking sucked. I mean, no offense to that guy, but it was just horrible. So like, dude, you're not shadow banned. Your profile just sucks. Like, you've just not been applying my picture advice properly at all. So I'll see a lot of cases like that. How have you avoided STDs from these psycho girls? Just safe sex is pretty reliable, I guess. I don't know. Condoms are fairly effective. Mainly, I think guys also heavily exaggerate the risk of STDs. You're mainly going to get STDs from the following risk groups: doing IV drugs, which I obviously don't do, having gay sex, which I do not do as well, and I think what's the third one? Oh, having sex with prostitutes, which is another thing I do not do. So those are really how guys get STDs the majority of the time, at least the STDs that matter, like hepatitis or HIV. Like, those are the really serious ones, really HIV. Aside from that, just having, whatever, sex with girls who, straight girls, especially if you use protection, your odds are fairly low. And if you do get STD, chances are it's going to be something like chlamydia or gonorrhea, something that's very easily curable with a week of antibiotics, right? I mean, not to say it can't happen, but, very rarely does someone get HIV just from having straight sex with a girl in a first world country, if that makes sense. How do I go about finding a photographer to take pictures of me for Tinder? That's a good question. Probably me personally, at this point in my life, I would just only use word of mouth, because I think most photographers really suck. I would also, before hiring anyone, I would ask to see their samples and see what they've done. And I would also want them to have experience taking pictures for this kind of setting, not just, for example, portrait pics or something like that. So I think very few photographers are good at taking Tinder pictures, unfortunately. Of course, some are, but most suck. I would honestly probably just have a friend do it. Just really, phones are getting really good now. So if you have an iPhone 11, which has a top-notch camera. If you have a DSLR, that's even better. Just get one of your buddies or your mom or whatever. Like, I've had my mom actually take a lot of my pics. I think right now, at least one of the pics I have on my Tinder profile, my mommy took. So yeah, you just 3 or 4 of them were pics one of my buddies took or something like that. So just have your family, friends, whatever, take pictures of you. How do you recommend approaching a woman with the first message on Tinder? I just keep it very straightforward. I don't think about it too much. Say something generic, usually like, hey, trouble, hey, I like your style. I don't overcomplicate things, chances are, statistically speaking, like at least 50% of the girls won't even see the first message. Maybe they swiped me on accidentally. Maybe they no longer have the app. Maybe they just got laid the night before, whatever. So I don't like to overthink the opener. Hey, love your vids. Any tips on how to overcome anxiety and trying to cold approach to someone who's still a virgin in his 20s? Ooh, that's rough. Thanks for the kind words. Welcome to PWF. So in terms of your situation, first thing I would do is check out the video interview I did with how to lose your virginity. I think that's going to be helpful. But basically, the advice I give in that video is, if you're a virgin, you want to make things as easy as possible for yourself. So, for example, let's say that you've never lifted weights before in your life, right? And me and you go to the gym, and you're interested in getting jacked, right? And we go to the gym, and I give you 300 pounds to deadlift, and I fucking have you do whatever crazy shit like planche push-ups and all that fucking shit. You're not gonna be able to do it. You're gonna get discouraged, you get annoyed, and you're probably gonna give up, right? Very few people are gonna persist in something they completely fail at. So you want to stack the odds in your favor. And the best way to do that, I think, is online, honestly, because you really don't. You can set everything up as a fuck date, and really at that point, it's a matter of showing up and just being able to put your dick inside a vagina. So really, I think that you want to stack the odds in your favor. I think that cold approach is you're making things. It's going to be harder for you to lose your virginity through cold approachness online. That's not to say you should not do cold approach, but I know your question was how to overcome anxiety. With that specifically, I recommend periodic desensitization. So that's when you basically expose yourself to things that make you more and more anxious. So for example, I do this with phobias. Like say someone is afraid of an elevator, right? So they're not going to just throw them in an elevator. The first thing they'll do is maybe they'll show them a picture of an elevator. Then they'll show them a video of an elevator. Then they'll have them go near an elevator. Then they'll have them stand in an elevator. So you just periodically desensitize yourself to things that make you nervous. I think that's scientifically proven to be effective. What's your policy with girls who are in a relationship? If they say, if it wasn't for my boys, I'll talk with you. What is your best sexualize that's happening and the girl is hot? Depends if I know the guy she's in a relationship with. If it's a friend or acquaintance of mine, then I'll obviously give up because I'm not gonna ruin a friendship or someone who I like just to get laid. If it's a guy who I don't know, then generally I don't give a shit personally. That's not to say that's the right thing. It's just me. I just don't really care that much about the feelings of someone who I know nothing about. It's not like I intentionally want to hurt anyone, but I just don't care. So at that point, I'll just still try to bang the girl if I find her attractive. But if she's constantly telling me like, hey, listen, no, I have a boyfriend, then I'll just probably let her go. Because at that point, I'll just kind of feel her out. Okay, how interested is she in cheating on her boyfriend? Like, for example, I remember I was at Whole Foods. This was a few years ago. I was at Whole Foods. I saw a hot chick with huge tits. And I approached her, and then she was like, hey, you're cool, but I have a boyfriend. I'm like, I don't care. She's like, okay. And she gave me her number, and then, we hung out. But if she was like, no, I know you don't care, but I actually do care, blah, blah, I don't cheat on my boyfriend, blah, blah. And I'd be like, okay, cool. It was nice to meet you. So that sort of thing, basically. I had straightforward texting on Tinder, but triple texted girls, stopped replying, prize. She perceived me needy, still a chance to move on. Dude, I have no way of knowing without seeing the screenshots. You honestly have to make a post with the screenshots. I have no idea how needy you came off. That's really what it comes down to. Did you come off a little bit needy or super needy? But generally speaking, if you triple texted a girl and she's not replying, chances are that nothing's going to happen. Odds are against you. In profile, how would you phrase owning a boat? Passionate about boating, boater, breaking waves, and finding salmon in either of these. I'm accepting applicant for new co-captain. Probably the last one of yours is the best. I'm accepting applications for new co-captain. Say currently accepting application. Honestly, the best way to go about this is just have a picture of you on the boat. Honestly, I think that's much better than writing in your bio. That's personally what I would do. Is just have a picture of you on the boat, and then your girls will probably, especially if you have an Instagram that's linked and you have more than one picture or stories of you on the boat, and girls will get the hint that you have a boat. But to be fair, a boat, it's a little bit of a DHV, but unless it's like a super fucking, entourage crib style boat, it's not going to be a huge game changer. Hi, what is your basic rules of texting, messaging girls online? I don't learn the exact. Oh man, that is a lengthy question. So check out the videos I have on this. I cover this fairly extensively, but okay, just to give you a few off the top of my head is don't be needy, right? So, if a girl's not responding an hour later, I'm not freaking the fuck out. I'm okay with it. Sometimes I'll let days go by. That's okay. If the girl's not responding, so don't be needy. That's a huge thing. Try to be calibrated and keep things relevant. So, for example, if you're talking to me and you're telling me something about a YouTube algorithm change, that's something that's going to be very relevant to me, and I'll be very interested in that topic. But a girl will not give a shit unless she has a YouTube channel. So I'll try to be very relevant to the girl's life. And I use the we frame a lot. So, for example, in conversation, you can use like I did this today, I did that. You can use you frame, which is like, oh, what did you do today? Oh, how's your day going? Which is better than the I frame, but still not ideal. We frame is like, oh, that's cool. We're going to make a great blah, 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 blah. Or like, oh, we're going to be great on our boat or whatever. Something like where you're basically, the frame is that it's the two of you. So I do that a lot. I smoothly escalate, I use optimal closing where I don't just say, hey, you want to hang out tomorrow at 8 o'clock? First I soft close and I figure out her schedule and I hard close. So a lot of stuff like that. But yeah, check out my videos for a lot more detail on that. Do you believe that women raise interest as they see and spend more time with a guy, or does women know within the first couple of minutes they want to sleep with said? That's a good question. Generally, I'm leaning towards the former. I think that within the first couple of minutes, even within the first 10, 20 seconds, a girl makes an initial impression about that guy. But the impression isn't necessarily, I want to fuck this guy. It's just that, okay, this is a guy who's worth talking to, or this is a guy who's not worth talking to, right? I mean, women have to be able to do this. Otherwise, because they're constantly getting paraded with offers of dick. So I think that now, so you want the first impression to be positive. That being said, usually, of course, there's exceptions. Some girls, within 10 seconds, they decide, I want to fuck this guy. But generally speaking, that decision isn't made until later on in the convo. So you want to, that's why it is definitely possible to raise interest, just having a good game, being confident, whatever. But so I would say it's a little bit of both, to be honest. How do you deal with college girls who cannot drive, cannot afford Uber? Get them an Uber. I mean, it's not the or off or whatever I say. Get Uber here and I'll drive you home. I kind of make a compromise. So if she really cannot afford to Uber here, then I'll just get her an Uber. I want to meet her. It's not that big of a deal. I don't have like some guys are super cheap and like, oh, whatever, you're like her sugar daddy if you buy her an Uber. It's nonsense. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Just like if I'm at a bar with one of my buddies and they left their wallet at home, I'll buy them a drink. I'm not going to be a fucking tight ass. Overall, what are your thoughts about the questions that are coming up in the forum? Are we all a bunch of losers? Oh man, that's definitely the best question of the night. Okay, I'll be honest. I think that there is, I would say generally three categories of guys that I see. First are the losers, but fortunately they're the minority. There's not that many of them. These are the guys who really just, I think that really what makes someone a loser is just having an ego, but also sucking at the same time. So if you're good and you have an ego, you kind of let it slide. And if you suck and you don't have an ego and you're humble and you're willing to learn, I think most people, including me, will be down to teach you. But I see a lot of guys who just like, they suck balls, but they're also like trying to convince me they don't suck balls. It's like, dude, I don't care. Like, you're in my forum asking for help. Like, you don't have to convince me that you're good. Like guys who are like bragging and stuff like that. But I think they're the minority, the extreme minority. Like there was this one guy we had to ban from the forums because he kept constantly fucking making posts about like how ugly he was and how the only way he can get laid is by tricking girls. And it's like, okay, if he did that once or twice, we would give him feedback. It was just a constant fucking pattern. Like, dude, okay, you're fucking ugly. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, fucking tattoo ugly on your forehead? Like, what the fuck do you want me to say? Like, man, like you fucking work on better game, better looking. Like, you have all your arms and legs. Like, be thankful for that. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. I think the second category of guys are just guys who just have some bad information. They're struggling and they're having a hard time learning this, which I can relate to because it wasn't really that easy for me either. Like, I struggled for a while. So I think that those are the guys. And the third group of guys are the guys who learn fast. These are the guys, for example, who might be good at cold approach or might be successful in business. They just never done online. And then like they see the material and they just get it right away. So I think the second and third category are by far the most common. That's like 90% of guys. But in terms of if we go outside of my forums and just go generally on the internet, I think on the internet, honestly, like it's like 70% losers. Like most of the guys I see on the internet, especially in the pickup community, just, oh my God, egos, don't know shit, constantly argumentative, constantly bickering. It's just like fucking like the Real Housewives of YouTube or something like that. So yeah, that's generally my take on that. How to get better at sex if you don't have much experience? Well, really the only way to get better is to get experience, man. There's no, like, you can't put the, what's the expression? Can't put the carriage before the horse or the cart before the whatever. You get the gist of it. So really you're not going to be able to get good without practice. Same thing is, how do you get good at lifting weights without lifting weights? You can't. You have to go to the gym and lift weights. Yeah, you can read theory all day long, but unless you actually practice applying it, it's not going to make a difference. So it's the same thing. A big part of sex is just being confident with yourself, just being able to just be at ease, be relaxed with your own body, and really that only comes from experience. Just bought the Hitachi Magic Wand. Thanks for information. So I try out. So the Iceman, yeah, that thing is a fucking awesome. I really wish I should get an affiliate link for that, because I feel like I've sent them so many sales over the years. That would be interesting, just to see exactly how many, not even so much the money aspect of it, just to see for myself how many like sales I got Hitachi just through my recommendations. But actually the original credit for that goes to J-Ball. So I think he's the one that told me about it like 5 years ago. And then I remember I tried it. I think that's who I learned it from. Pretty sure. Been thinking this response recently when trying to sexualize, thinking we are on Hinge for different reasons. I'm out to meet people, not hook up, so maybe we should end here. What's a good response? Been thinking, okay, so that's thinking it on for different reasons. I'm out to meet people, not hook up, so maybe we should end it here. I would say, what did I say anything about a hookup, right? So you want to take away her frame. So then she'll probably say, oh, no, you didn't. But, what did I say anything about just a hookup? She'll say, no, you didn't, but, you were whatever, being sexual, so I assumed. I was like, yeah, I'm a pretty sexual guy. It doesn't mean I just want a one-night stand. So I just reframed the whole thing. I have several examples of this, actually. Check out our Instagram. I remember I was looking at today at Real Playing Fire. We have an example on there. It's going to be like 10 or 20 down. Can you make a video analyzing followers' text? Yes, I've actually had many of those. So I've done quite a few of those. We have at least 3 or 4 of them. But if you want me to analyze your text game, then submit your screenshots to playingwithfirechannel@gmail.com. And if I think it's going to make a good video, I will, I'll do it. Also, you can DM them to us at Real Playing Fire on Instagram. Should I ever tell a girl by your late count? Or no, never should. I can't imagine it will be helpful. If you tell a girl you're a virgin, she's going to be more reluctant to have sex with you because she's not going to want to be the one that takes your virginity. And if your lay count is high, it's going to come off as bragging. If your lay count is low, it's going to make you look bad. I never, ever talk to girls about my lay count. If they ask and they persist, I'll give them the same answer I give you guys, but I'm never the one that brings it up. I don't see any advantage to doing that. I have no issues getting phone numbers, but I have an extremely high flake rate for meetup states. What are some tips to getting the girl to meet you? So probably, I'm not sure if we're talking about online or cold approach here, but generally speaking, if that's the case, then the girls are not invested in you. So generally speaking, you're probably going for the number too fast. You're not building any investment. So just by slowing things down a little bit, getting the girl to invest, you will significantly decrease your flake rate. How often do you use a Hitachi wand on a first date? I don't want to make it seem like honestly, not as often as most people think. It's more, yeah, I'd say like 15, 20% of the time, something like that. It's less than 50% for sure. How do you clean your Hitachi Magic Wand? With soap and paper towels? I mean, there's no like magic pickup instructor secret to it. Like I have like some magic potion concoction that just wipes it off. Just, yeah, basic. Rubbing alcohol does the trick. I want to hear about your aftercare for the girls after the deed is done. That word, aftercare. Just cuddle with a girl and just shoot the shit. Honestly, nothing crazy. Just basically what you don't want to do is you don't want to kick the girl out right away or something like that. But as long as you're not doing that, you're just laying there and just hanging out with her and talking to her. That's really what you need to do. You don't have to do anything super special. I'll just be like, come here, you. Sometimes the girls will get awkward because they're not sure if you want them to leave. I'll be like, no, just make them feel easy. No, it's okay. Let's cuddle a little bit. Come here. And then just shoot the shit, really. For threesomes, can you indicate that in your profile? You can. You're going to be casting some girls out. If you are going to do threesomes, check out actually, I think the best way is check out the video I have, how to have a threesome on Tinder. So I'll walk you through the whole thing. There, yeah, it was a fairly lengthy video. But generally speaking, there's two approaches. You can have a profile, three approaches actually. You can have a couple profile, which can be somewhat effective. You can have the girl change her settings to bi, which I think might be the most effective strategy. Or you can just manually, have your settings set on normal and then just game girls differently after you sexualize the conversation. Like, oh, you would ask, like, are you bi at all? And the girl might say, yeah, a little bit. This is after you sexualize. And you'd say, cool, because my friend is really attracted to you or something like that. What I meant to say was, if the girl isn't interested at all, how do you easily gain that back? How do you easily make her fall in love? Also, bro, be him. Well, if the girl isn't interested at all, you're not going to easily gain her back. That's kind of an oxymoron. There's no way that's going to happen. So if a chick really isn't interested in you at all, my advice would be just to move on. Honestly, it's going to be really hard for you to get her interested. You're going to have a significantly easier time just getting a new girl interested than turning around a conversation with girls interested. Also, you don't want to basically, like fucking cross over into creepy guy territory, which it's not that big of a deal. But for example, if it's like, it is a little bit, it's a small world and not a small world in some ways. Like, for example, for me, like, even though I am fairly aggressive in some ways about pursuing girls in Miami, I never go into creepy guy territory. So, for example, if I am stuck at a bar with like 30 girls that I've been hitting on, it's not going to be that awkward because I never really did anything that I was like, went too far or something like that. The worst they can say is like, yeah, this guy was like super persistent, but I just wasn't interested at the time. No girl was really going to be like, this guy's a fucking creep. He wouldn't leave me alone. So, you don't want to cross over into that. I'm going to have a photo shoot this weekend. Do you advise on copying other good profiles or post model suggestions? At the moment, I have one: be natural, value pics, SME with fashion. So yes, so one is by far the most important thing. So don't copy model poses because that would go directly against one. Just be natural, have fun. Typically what I'll do is I'll crack jokes with the photographer. Usually it's one of my friends, so we're just having fun, joking around, and try to get pictures like that. I just try to have as much fun with it as possible, and that usually creates the most natural looking pics. Other than that, get your facial hair on point. Get a nice maybe fade or something like that. Get your beard on point. Dress in nice form-fitting clothes. Really, other than that, that's pretty much it. Okay, we just skipped a bunch of questions. Hang on a second. Okay. When do you lose interest in a girl because she's giving you one-word answers or taking 2 days to respond? You just ignore them, troll them, or tell them good luck. What do I personally do? Well, I mean, occasionally I do troll people because I am a big fan of trolling. It's not to say that it's the right thing to do. It's just sometimes what I personally feel like doing. But what do? I don't know. I'll just stop responding. Honestly, if I lose interest in a girl, then I'm just not going to respond to her. Honestly, unless, for example, she's actively hitting me up, in which case I don't want to be a dick, and then I'll let her down nicely. But other than that, if a girl's, for whatever reason I decide this girl's not worth pursuing, then I'm just simply not going to pursue her. It's going to be as simple as that. I don't need to like blow it out or like get a big reaction from her. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. Pulling a girl with a boyfriend. Again, it depends on the situation. Is this on Tinder? Is the girl trying to cheat? Is this at a bar? Is the boyfriend there? Is the boyfriend not there? Generally speaking, if the boyfriend is there, it's a bar. I'll try to be like, it's not so much that I can't do it. I don't really get off on being a dick that much. So like, I don't want to be that guy that like fucking makes this dude like cry, kill himself or something like that. So if the guy is there, I'll probably won't pursue it much, whatever. I'll just let it go unless the girl's making it super obvious that she's into me. If the guy's not there, then I'll just play it off as like any other situation. Meaning like I won't do anything differently. I'll still like pursue her in the way I normally pursue girls. In my profile, I have pictures doing the same activity, driving my boat, say 2 or 3. Would that show you as 2-dimensional? No, one picture would do the trick. You don't need like 2 or 3 pictures of you driving the boat. I think one picture is enough. Other than that, it's just gonna seem like you fucking live on your boat. Yeah, so that would just be a little overkill. Just stick with one solid picture. Have you tried again with a girl after several years going by, like try applying what you learned? Yes, I have. I've had a few successful examples of this. I remember when I was like 24, 23, when I was like just getting into game. I think initially when I was getting into game, I was having a hard time with being more assertive and dominant. So that was like one of my big sticking points. I was just more like kind of fluffy. partially because I was following a lot of RSD content. But anyway, so yes, I went on Tinder. I went on 2 dates with one girl who's like kind of my type. And then I was just bad at closing. That was another thing. Like second date, I think she was over my place, and I couldn't make it happen. I don't know. I was just like beating around the bush and shit like that. And then she lost interest. She told me over text, like, yeah, sorry, I'm just not feeling it. And then like 4 years went by, and then we rematched on Tinder. So, oh no, wait. No, I think I was following her on Facebook, and I think that I just randomly hit her up out of the blue. At that point, my game was like 10 times better. And so then I sexualized a little bit over text, not too much. I just kind of gave some hints, and then had her over, and then we smashed. And and then she became super into me, and that was like pretty epic. I was like, fuck yeah, like turned around. I tried to do that a few times with girls who I went to high school with, because in high school I definitely wasn't getting laid, but there's chicks I was attracted to like turn around. But just honestly, a big part of it was that just having I don't go to my local New Jersey bars where I have a chance to hang out with girls who I went to high school with. But though part of me really wants to do that and get with the hot girl from high school, get with the prom queen and shit like that. But that's just more just to fulfill my own whatever inner lacks or whatever. So yeah, I have had that experience. And it is pretty satisfying. Any tips on living in the middle of nowhere? I live in a town with 1,000 people. I have set my radius around 30 miles on Tinder. I get matches, but they never want to meet up because of the distance. Honestly, I would set the distance even more than that, like 60 miles. One of my old roommates, he used to live in rural Michigan or something like that. He told me he had his thing set to 60 miles. Sometimes girls would drive over an hour because there's just no one around. So honestly, I would set my radius to wider and then get the girls to invest and then sexualize, and then get them really invested and then get them to come over. We actually have a video coming up in about a week on 5 tricks to make a girl horny over text and come to your place. So I think that's going to be very applicable for you. But another thing is going to be maximize sexual market value and, of course, getting out of your small town as soon as you possibly can. How long from when a girl comes over to make a move? Really, I don't have a set rule. It just depends on the vibe and how comfortable the girl is. So, for example, my date last night, it was at least 45 minutes to an hour because I could tell she was a little nervous. So, I'll obviously just wait for the girl to get comfortable, because if you make a move too fast, she might freak out. But some girls, they come over and I could tell they're just very at ease and comfortable right away. So then I'll wait 5-10 minutes. So it really depends on where the girl's at. What conversation tops doing towards to get to sex? I don't have one. I don't do routines or anything like that. Really, it's just strong eye contact. One thing I've been doing that I've noticed is that I take a girl on my balcony, and then after there's been some comfort, first thing I do, girl comes in, I give her a hug, lead her upstairs, make a few jokes, blah blah blah, introduce her to my dog, offer her a drink, right? And then typically I'll take her on my balcony, and then usually when we're on my balcony, I'll stand behind her, kind of just put my arms on the sides. I think it's almost like a Titanic type of shit, but I find that's pretty effective in building sexual tension. But really, initially I'm escalating just with eye contact, slight touches. I'm not just fucking just going for the makeout right away. I'm just cracking jokes and just being flirty, slowing down my speech a little bit, just getting all sexy with it. So stuff like that. Yeah, so we just answered that question. What do you say to a girl who admits she's shy and experienced and feels intimidated by you? Are we talking about over text or in real life? If it's in real life, I would just make her feel more comfortable and say oh, it's okay. You don't have to feel shy around me. Why do you feel shy? Don't get too intense. You don't want to be in her face. You say that. Just kind of lean back and just have a smirk on your face. Again, don't have a serial killer face. If it's over text, I'll just basically say something along the lines of that same thing. I might say why do you feel shy, with a winky face or something like that? Can you explain RPtations? How do you get that girl to? Can you explain rotations? How do you vet a girl to girlfriend? Yeah, I have a whole video on this. I find that guys often guys will be can you make a video on this? I'm I already made a video on this 2 months ago. So I think I need to maybe have some kind of a table of contents or something like that on my YouTube channel. I need to think of a way to do this so guys can have a better idea of all the how to get the information they want from my videos. But basically, to answer your question, with rotations, I basically treat them like a friend, with the addition of sexual tension, sexual humor, and just sexualization in general. So, for example, I have a girl coming over tomorrow, right? She's one I've been seeing for 4 or 5 months. And generally, again, like today, for example, today I hit her up because I'm going to be making a video on dick pics later. And I was like, hey, I'm going to be making a video on dick pics later tonight. Do you have any cringe examples of guys sending you dick pics? And then we talked about that a little bit. And I'm like, oh shit, like, and then she's like, well, this one guy was actually really smooth. I was like, oh, okay, he must have learned from me. Like, just making jokes, like just having fun with it. And then she was like, hey, by the way, we're still on for tomorrow because I've been feeling really horny. I'm like, yeah, of course, we'll see you tomorrow night. So again, basically, I don't do anything crazy. I don't play any weird games. Just treat them as normal people. I think that I fuck them pretty well, and then I'm pretty chill to be around, and I am not needy, and I don't do any weird shit, and I'm pretty funny. So that's really, I think that puts me in the 1%, honestly. So yeah, really as simple as that. If I'm considering dating a girl, that is going to be a lot more to it than that. Personally, I want a girl who's very loyal. Like, she has to be extremely loyal, extremely honest. So if ever a girl lies to me, that's going to remove her from the possibility of me being a girlfriend. Like, I should have no doubts that she's always telling me the truth. I want someone who's also very caring. That's just something I personally look for. So someone who's just going to be like very like just dedicated to me, someone who cares a lot. So like, I look for little things. Like, for example, if a girl like thinks of me and cooks me something or whatever, does something like that, that's going to be like it's more about the gesture than the actual act itself. So stuff like that. I like a girl who's smart. So the girl has to be at least as smart as me. I would not date a girl who's dumb, no matter how hot she is. A girl needs to have a good sense of humor. So if she gets triggered easily, or she doesn't find me funny, or she can't make me laugh ever, then that's not going to work either. So I look for a whole host of things. Also similar values as me. I'm not going to date like a religious freak or someone who's like a fucking extreme nihilist or anything like that. So yeah, I would say those are the things. How long have you lived in Miami? Have you dealt with any hurricanes? I've been in Miami for 3 years now, and yeah, they come, but they're not a big deal. I mean, honestly, we're living in 2020, you're living in modern times, so it's like whatever. Just basically, just hurricane is it rains for a day, and instead of walking at dry places, that's really the extent of it. I don't think hurricanes are really a big deal unless you like own a house that's in the lowlands and it's getting flooded. Other than that, if you live in a high rise like I do, it really makes no difference. Is there a life after a girl perceived me needy? I triple text on Tinder, girl stopped applying. It was straightforward conversation before that. Just make a post in the forums and we can take a look at what exactly happened. It depends, really going to come down to how needy you were. Sometimes guys think they were needy and they weren't that needy, and sometimes guys think they weren't that needy and they were actually extremely needy. So it's not so much about the triple text. I'm sure you've seen I have a lot of layer reports where I actually had to triple text a girl, maybe even quadruple text a girl, but not so much about the actual number of texts, but more of what you said and the timing between. So we're going to have to look at that to determine exactly how needy you were. How come some girls just stop responding on Tinder randomly? It could be any number of reasons, man. They had a bad date and they gave up hope on Tinder. They found a guy, they found a boyfriend. They're no longer horny. They are focused on work. They just didn't see your message. Technical glitch. Any number of things, and you just got buried in their messages. Maybe she thought she responded, but she didn't. That also happens. So it could be such a wide array of reasons. That's like, I don't think it's fair to just assume it's because she's a bitch or whatever. That can be it, but probably not. There's a lot of reasons outside of you that she could have stopped responding. So really, no way to know unless you ask her. This chick hit me up for a booty call, but then it fell through because of distance. How do I re-engage for next time? Well, the issue is that you're going to have to address the distance thing at one point or another. So, for example, if she said, "Hey, yeah, I want to meet you, but honestly, it's a Monday night and I have work and I can't drive an hour," that's one thing. But it's like, yeah, I don't know, you're too far from me. That's a whole different thing. You got to address it. So, I would just re-engage her same way you would re-engage any girl, with a meme or a simple, reopener or something like that, and then just build it from there. But really, it's going to come down to what exactly was the underlying reason why she flaked. Was she just not willing to drive that far that night, or she just doesn't want to drive that far in general, right? So those are the things you have to look for. If it's the latter, then it's really going to come down to you building more investment and interest and giving her more of a motivation to come over. Do you believe in nofap? Well, I have a whole video on this I did recently. Generally speaking, I think that it has merit. I personally do nofap, but I'm not like religious about it. That's basically. But yeah, check out the video. I kind of break this down in more detail. All right. Brain means head, my man. Oh, okay. Honestly, never heard this story before. So it should give you head. Should you text her the next day with a comfort text? Yes. Hello, I spent my money on my own house instead of a car. However, my mom is homeless and I had to take her in. Oh, geez. What are the alternative places you can hook up with a girl besides her place and mine? Hotel, honestly, that's really it. I mean, there's really no other place you can get a hotel. But honestly, if your mom is living with you, it's kind of like you're not living with her, she's living with you. It's very nice that you took your mom in. I would definitely do the same thing if my mom was in that situation. But that being said, it's your place, so you should feel free to have girls over. I think that if I was in your situation, I'd be like, hey, mom, listen, I'm a grown-ass man, so I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to have a girl over tonight, whatever. Don't even ask for permission. Just tell her, hey, I'm going to have a girl over later tonight, whatever. We're going to be on the balcony or something like that. How many phone number leads should I be aiming for weekly if I'm fairly new? I want to rapidly progress in this area. Thanks for the value, man. I would say do like 10. If you're doing like over 10 a week, you're on the right track. Ideally over 20, but I don't have like a hard number for you. I would say probably at least 10 a week. You're gonna have a good amount of volume coming in. So yeah, I would say probably something along the lines of that. A girl giving your brain another way of saying she gave you head. Okay, yeah. After you get with a girl, how do you handle their clingy and want a further relationship? Do you set her? Yeah, well, I'll always be nice, and I'm not going to be a dick to her. I'm not going to be like, fuck no, I'm not going to date you, dumbass whore. Like, no, I try to be generally very nice to people, as long as they're not being assholes to me. But I would just be honest with her. I'd be like, hey, listen, like, you're cool, and I really like hanging out with you. But honestly, I just don't know if I'm at a point in my life where I can be monogamous. And, I don't want to be in a situation where I commit to you and then, later, wind up cheating or something like that simply because, I wasn't upfront about my intentions. So, I'd like to keep hanging out with you and keep getting to know you. That's not to say that there's not a chance that something could happen at one point. I'm not totally closed off to that idea, but, let's just take it slow and kind of see how it goes. It's probably I would say something along the lines of that. Been with this girl for 2 months. I feel she's losing interest because she works a lot. She doesn't have much time to text. So when you say you've been with this girl, you've been in an exclusive relationship with her, or what's the story where you've just been texting her for 2 months? But I'm assuming that you've been with an exclusive relationship where you guys have been having sex for 2 months, which I don't know if that's a given or not. I wouldn't really focus on how much she texts me. That's not really important. It's more about how she acts when she's around you. Is she excited to see you? Does she make time for you? Those are the things that matters. Less so, how much she texts. If you were to look at my texts with most people, you would think that I don't give a shit about anyone because I'm just usually like too busy to send a bunch of texts to people. It's not to say I don't care about my closest friends or family members. It's just I'm too busy to constantly fucking text them. Like I'm excited when I see them, and that's really what matters to me. So I'd say the same thing. Where do you find memes to send? A lot of it is just, something I see someone else does or someone sends me, or I just stumble upon it randomly. I really have only like 3 or 4 memes that I send like regularly. Like, I don't have that many. Really, mainly I use the Ryan Gosling meme. That's it. I don't do that many memes. Or when it's a holiday, I will send memes. So for like Valentine's Day, New Year's, whatever, I just have a funny meme for each like special day of the year that I will send. Other than that, it's really that and the Ryan Gosling meme. What's the best opener to a very hot girl trying not to compliment? Yeah, so the best opener is going to be the same for a hot girl, for an ugly girl, for an average girl. Really, it's an opener is an opener. So good game is good game, no matter how attractive the girl is, generally speaking. So again, it's going to be, hey, trouble, hey, I like your style. Any one of the openers I normally talk about. All right. What do you do when a girl continues to try to get you to qualify to her instead of answering your questions? Probably would call it out. Again, depends exactly on the context. I can't really give you a specific answer without seeing the context. So make a post in the forums, forums.plankfire.com, and we can take a look. We've heard your pre-game and in-game. However, I want to hear you after game. What do you take care from that? What do you do taking care of a girl after the night? Massage, breakfast? No, I'm not. I don't make a girl breakfast or something like that unless the girl who I've been seeing and she winds up sleeping over. Honestly, unless I'm seeing a girl. Like my booty calls will sometimes sleep over. Even that is like something I don't do right away. That's just my personal preference. I know JML likes sleepovers a lot, for example, but again, I'm not doing anything crazy. That's the thing. I'm not trying to, like, after sex has happened, I'm not trying to, like, okay, how do I keep her around? That's not my frame. I just relax and just try to, like, enjoy the moment, enjoy the conversation. Almost the same thing as, like, whatever. Okay, you guys an example. So when I was in high school, or middle or high school, there used to be like the cool kids who I would have like little man crushes on. And I'd be like, oh, it'd be so cool if I was friends with like fucking this guy, like fucking, you know, Bobby or something like that. I want to be his best friend. It'd be fucking awesome. He's so cool. Like, yeah, I want to be best friends with him. I'd be like, okay. I'd be like microanalyzing. How do I like become really good friends with him? And like whatever, we'd hang out or something, play soccer. I'd be like, okay. What do I do to like make him my friend, right? So I think guys might find that, might laugh at that, be like, psh, what a fucking loser. I'm not going to do that. But they do that same shit with girls, you know, like, okay, like micromanage everything. That's not what I do. And that's, ironically, that's going to, if you do that, people are going to be, you know, not attracted to you at all because they're just sensitive, trying hard to keep them around. So really, again, after I sleep with a girl, I'll just cuddle with her and shoot the shit. That's it. If she really needs a ride home or something like that, you know, then I'll give her a ride. That's really the extent of it. I don't do anything crazy. And I send her, you know, post-sex text. And then, you know, if I want to see her again, then I'll just keep talking to her. It's really as simple as that. What's the best cold approach open to a hot girl at a bar without mentioning her looks? I don't have like default openers that I do. Generally speaking, though, cold approach, hot girl at a bar, the highest likelihood is going to be something that's observational and situational. So if you do like, for example, my standard opener is, hey, you know, I'm Alex, right? So that's really one of my openers at bars. I'll just go up to a girl and be like, hey, I'm Alex. Just assume positive outcome. And that's fairly effective. But even more effective would be to do something observational. Like, for example, she has a tattoo that looks like a wolf. I'll be like, oh, that looks just like my dog. She'll be like, really? I'm like, yeah, look, I have the same tattoo. Like something like observational. And then kind of get your foot in the door. And then from there, the trick is to then, you know, make your intention known. But typically I'll do that in not a super explicit way. I'll just do that through eye contact and body language rather than being like, hey, actually, the real reason I came over here is because I thought you were hot. Like typically I won't say that because it's a little too much pressure on her. I'll just communicate that with, again, more subtly. But yeah, so something along the lines of that. How do you work around the sugar baby thing? I remember you and the guest went over it, but didn't really say how. Well, I think you can preempt this. Well, okay, so there's going to be, first, if a girl's on Tinder or I meet her in cold approach or something like that, then I don't come from a sugar daddy frame in general. So a lot of guys, that's the only way they know how to game. So like they see a girl and they'll be like, oh, you're so cute. Like, can I buy you dinner? Or, oh yeah, like, you know, I want to be like, I want to take you shopping or something like that. That's the only way they know how to impress a girl, which is really ineffective. So they almost position themselves as sugar daddy, sugar baby. I don't position myself like that because I know that I don't need to impress the girl or buy her shit or spend money on her to get her to like me, right? So again, I do that just by being myself or the best possible version of myself. So that's really the big thing. There's only been literally like such a small amount of times, like really, unless you're on seeking arrangement, like where the girl is giving you like a sugar baby shit test, and it's also so minor. Like the girl will be, and I've hooked up with some girls who are sugar babies and have had other guys pay them for sex. They just never bring it up with me because I never positioned myself like that from the beginning. So I think that when you're talking to a girl, you have a lot of control about how you position yourself in her mind. Now, if you're on seeking arrangement, well, actually, that's a whole thing I could go into. But basically, if you're on there, then the underlying assumption is that you want to be her sugar daddy. So then you have to do a little bit more work to kind of like position yourself as just a normal, cool guy, you know, who's using this website because he's busy with work, not because he's some pussy hound who has no game and needs to pay for sex. I want to ask out my neighbor who I see daily. We have positive vibes and short conversations, but I don't know how to escalate this into a date and then sexualize. So I'll just probably, whatever, just say like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Like when you see her, like whatever, not right away, but when the conversation gets going, like, oh, hey, Judy, you mowed the lawn the other day. I like it. And then whatever, you're just like, hey, so what are you doing this weekend? Oh, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, I actually have Sunday off, so I'm going to get a drink. You want to come join me? Have a drink? Like something like that. Just like ask her for a drink. Ask her to join you for a drink. Really keep it simple. And then on the date, that's when you would probably slowly sexualize after the girl builds comfort. But I wouldn't do it if it's your neighbor before. You don't want to be like the creepy guy. You want to first get her out on a quote unquote date before you sexualize. Generally speaking, there's of course a lot of exceptions to this. And if you have a good game, you don't need to do that. You can sexualize beforehand. But if you're struggling, then I would say stick with that approach. Medellin, Miami, New York City, Dallas, Austin, or Aston and why? Depends really for what. Are we talking about for game, for living, for what? So for game, by far the best one of those cities is Medellin, because simply the sexual marketplace is so much in your favor there. I literally when I was last time I was in Medellin, I was actively turning down hot girls because I just simply couldn't keep up. Like it was just, my phone was just blowing the fuck up. Like it wasn't that my game was better when I was in Medellin. If anything, I was probably a little sloppier there. It was just that, just having so much volume because of, again, the sexual marketplace there's a lot more favorable in my favor. Me being a tall white guy with blue eyes and English and the U.S. passport and knowing some Spanish and understanding Latin culture, versus, for example, Miami, New York City. In terms of living, for me personally, probably be between Miami and Austin. Probably Miami. That's where I live now. New York City is just too expensive and too compact for me. But some people like that. Some people like the compactness. I don't. Dallas, I've never really explored, so I can't say. In my country, we're in complete lockdown. That's why I'm trying to keep the vibe and kind of make girls chase me. I can't go beyond. We can't hang out until this fall. What country are you in? What country right now can you not hang out at all? Being gay is a result of guys shamed for being boring, saying, "Hey, how's it going?" And she didn't reply. They say boring, so they need to think. Yes, that's correct. So in a sense, so basically, I look at it as a spectrum, right? So I've talked about this in other videos. So let's have a spectrum, right? One end you got, this end you got like fucking ultra boring, like hey, what's up? Hey, how are you? And then guys try to go to the other extreme, which is here, and just completely try to do the opposite of being super boring. But the right approach is somewhere like I would say in the middle, but closer to here. Like you want to be almost more on the boring side. You just want to use game to just spice up your regular conversation just amount to be unique and stand out. But you don't want to go to the overgame category. That's by far worse than being overly boring. How would you cold approach a girl on the street? So yeah, we covered this pretty extensively. I would generally speaking, again, it comes down to what? Like is she standing? Is she sitting? Is she walking? Is she walking the same way as me? Do I have my dog with me? What time of the day is it? Does she look at me first? Do we make eye contact, or she doesn't even know I'm there? So all these factors would play into it. Honestly, if I don't have much to go off on, and I have to. Typically, I'd like to be able to like make eye contact first because that makes I think the approach happens with your eyes before you even like move in and say anything. So ideally, you want to make eye contact, maybe like a little smirk. Then from there, it's going to be a lot easier to open her. Ideally, I like to go with something contextual or something, that's like related, like, hey, like, I like your tattoo. Is that, kind of looks like me almost like if you look like, and just like, again, like kind of go off something contextual. So something along the lines of that. But if I can't do that, I'd be like, hey, I just want to say hi. I live down the street. I want to meet you real quick. My name is Alex. Like, I just thought you were cute and want to say hi, like something like that. Yes, agreed. Yeah, so we covered this pretty extensively. What to say when asking out your crush? Well, Sam Lopez, I would say that really depends on whether you're her crush as well, what the context is. Have you guys just known each other for a few weeks? Have you guys been friend zoned for years? But generally speaking, don't overcomplicate this. Don't make it a bigger deal than it has to be. Just ask her for a drink, honestly. Don't try to do anything fancy, anything crazy. Just simply be a cool, normal guy. Ask her for a drink. Keep things very simple. How do you approach Instagram girls? So yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm assuming you're talking about cold DMs, but generally speaking, the rule I've been following is that I'll search for popular bars in my area, right, where I attract usually hot girls, and then I'll find their page and I'll see what girls follow that bar. So usually that's a good way to meet hot girls who are in my area who like to go out. Then I'll add them as a friend and I'll see if they add me back. So if they follow me back, that's a pretty good sign. If not, okay, I'll still maybe try to open them. Then I'll typically maybe like one or two of their pictures and see if they like any of mine. Again, if they do, that's a good sign. And then I'll probably slide into their DMs and say something. I'm not going to go super explicit or anything. I might say something like, "Hey, I like your style," right? So something super generic, but again, straightforward. I don't want to just say "Hey" or "Hey, what's up." I want to give her like a reason why I'm messaging her, but it doesn't have to be like, "Hey, you're really hot and I want to fuck you." That would be way too much. So, and then from there, just kind of good text game is good text game. But on Instagram, I'll be a little bit more low key. I'll try to be a little bit more fun and flirty rather than like intense and sexual. If I give you my Tinder, would you be open to analyzing my profile, messages, and probably even trying to get me laid? Law, I have 9 implied petty. Sure, man. Can't think of anything I'd like to do more. No, I mean, I do that. It sounds like a lot of work. You can make a post in the forums, and I can see what I can do. I obviously don't have the time to go through your own Tinder personally, or you can join the mastermind group, and then there I'll be able to give you a lot more help. If you're part of the mastermind group. But yeah, man, one of those two things. I tend to get into deep, thoughtful conversations. Often girls tend to respond positively, but it kills the fun, sexy vibe. It creates a heavy vibe. Any advice on someone like me? Just keep things more fun and lighthearted. I know it sounds like obvious, but just practice it like a muscle. Like just practice just not doing what you're currently doing, just keeping things more light. Like watch shows like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, for example. Like that's a show where like literally nothing deep ever happens. Everything is very surface layer. It's all like fun surface layer. So like shit like that. That's kind of the vibe almost you want to have. Like Californication goes a little bit deeper, but it's also fairly surface layer if you exclude Hank's relationship with Karen. So just kind of watch those to kind of get a general gist of the vibe. Okay, so we answered this question. Can you show us your Tinder profile? Yeah, I showed an older version of my Tinder profile that's somewhat similar to what I'm doing now. I don't want to show here's the thing. If I show my bio right now, then people are going to copy it. I'm going to have to create a new bio. But honestly, if you watch a lot of my content, it's really not hard to figure out more or less what exactly I'm doing. In terms of my pictures, yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I will make a update video. I'll call my current Tinder profile. I'm also a little worried about, honestly, if I reveal my Tinder profile, like just the way it is now, the Tinder will ban me. I've already had like a somewhat, just because, I don't know, the channel's starting to grow. So I have to take that into account. But yeah, I'll probably do something like that. So if you really want to see my profile right now, then join the mastermind group because I posted there extensively. Whenever I update my profile, I always post in the mastermind group because, there's not like tens of thousands of people there. It's only like, 400 people, right? So I don't really have to worry that much. But when it's like tens of thousands of people, it's like a whole different like game, so as to speak. How do you move from Tinder to Hinge to phone and Instagram? So to phone, I don't move to Instagram. I move to so basically the strategy I follow. Check out my video of 5 steps to optimally closing. But basically, I'll soft close, like, do you like one? Girl will say yes. Cool, we should get together sometime soon. That's a soft close. She'll say yes, sure. I'll say cool. What's your schedule like? The girl will say, I'm free, Thursday and Friday night. I'll be like, cool. Let's do Friday around 8. She'll say sounds good. I'll be like, cool. Text me. Or cool, shoot me your number, one of those two. Honestly, lately I've been preferring to almost, after I make plans, just give the girl my number and say, text me, because then when she texts you, it's a little bit more investment. But sometimes won't do that. Sometimes I'll say, shoot me your number. Sometimes I don't even have to do all that. Sometimes I'll say, a little, let's just say shortcut I found is just asking girls, and this will only work with international-ish girls, but I'll say, do you have WhatsApp? And even though it's basically the same thing as a phone number, even better, girls are not as usually, let's just say, worried about giving it out. What does 2 gaming mean? Can you give a simple example, man? So just being overly, yes, I've talked about this a lot, being overly witty, overly try hard, overly fancy. So, okay, let's take the Hey Trouble opener. Like, Hey Trouble, it's not super boring. It's kind of wearing a little bit in the gaming land, but it's not that gaming. What if I was to say something like, hey, you little troublemaker, what kind of trouble are you planning on getting into today? Right? Okay, that's a little bit of an extreme example. What if I was to say, hey, you little troublemaker? And she says, hey, haha. And I'd say, what kind of trouble are you getting into today? She would say, like, not much trouble, just relaxing at home. I'd be like, oh, I know you're gonna get into a little bit more trouble than that. I can tell, you give off that troublesome vibe, something like that. That's just like, yeah, we're getting into like way overly gamey. Versus if I was just like, hey, trouble, she's like, haha, hey. I'd be like, how's your Sunday going? She'd be like, good, just hanging out. What are you? I'm like, oh, cool. Just took my dog for a walk, relaxing in the jacuzzi now, right? So you can see how the second example is a lot less gamey. But I do have a whole video on this, and with a much more detailed example. It's called the number one texting mistake that will keep you from getting laid. So check that out. Shot on my rooftop. So at the very least, you're going to see some cool ass scenery. Okay. What are good social pictures to take, and what's a good way to show off your physique without appearing like you're showing off qualifying yourself? Okay, so two different questions. So social pictures, ideally you want something where it looks like you're hanging out with cool people, ideally during the daytime, not necessary, but it's a little bit better. So like maybe you guys are doing something cool, like you're playing a sport, you're jet skiing, you're whatever at a pool party, you're just hanging out. Ideally it should be guys and girls, it should look like cool people. It shouldn't look like a bunch of dorks, stuck together in a room with their mom taking a picture of them. In terms of showing off your physique, honestly, the least try hard way to do would be like you're at the beach, you're at the pool, any activity where it would make even somewhat of a sense for you to take your shirt off. So anything where it would make it wouldn't really make sense for you to be shirtless at a restaurant or something like that, right? Like that wouldn't make sense. But any activity where it can be like, okay, yeah, it was probably hot, so he took his shirt off. We have that plausible deniability. Will be less try hard. But honestly, one of my Tinder pictures right now is a mirror selfie of me with my shirt off. It's not my first picture, although I have played around with having it as my first. And even though it's a little try hard, it fucking works. So, are you Russian? Yes, I'm actually Belarusian, but we speak the same language. It's like the same shit. Okay. Cold approach sequence feedback. Hi, can I meet you real quick? I'm Alex. What's your name? Are you from here? And what do you do? I'd like to get to know you. How about we go out for a drink? Yeah, again, sounds way too scripted, way too. Again, I don't have sequences that I run when I do cold approach. I think that stuff is extremely ineffective and try hard. I don't do like the mystery method routines or like other routines that guys teach. I think all that shit is fairly cringe and largely ineffective. So I don't have a sequence. I just go into it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna open the girl. I'm gonna have good body language, good eye contact. I'm gonna chat and flirt with her. I'm gonna, maybe get her to invest in the conversation a little bit by asking her questions. So I might say like, hey, what's your background? Like, oh, cool. Yeah, you're from Venezuela. Cool. Like, my ex is actually from there. What city? Are you from Caracas? Right. So she's like, oh, how do you know about that? I'll be like, oh, like whatever. It's a cool city. I've heard blah, 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 something like that. Or like, oh, cool. Let me guess, Colombian? She'll be like, no, I'm actually from Peru. I'm like, oh, cool. Lima, right? Again, something like shit like that. I'm like, cool. Yeah, I've always wanted to go there. So I'm not talking about super boring thing. I'm not like, what do you do? Oh, you're a programmer. What do you program? More just about travel and other more interesting things. I'll be like, hey, you have a little bit of an accent. Are you from the Midwest? Oh, I love that sexy Midwestern accent. Wait, say something else. Then just tease her, have fun, and then just go for the close. For example, if I sense that she's in a rush, then I'll be like, I'll probably end the conversation before she can. I'll be like, hey, listen, I'm kind of in a rush. Even if I can tell that she's the one in a rush, I gotta run right now. Even if I don't have shit to do, we should hang out sometime though. She'll be like, yeah. Like, cool. What's your number? I'll just give her my phone, have her put her number in. It's really what I'll do. How do you stop trying? Because I posted on PWF recently and told me it was over the girl. I feel like I can get the sparks back like the way you did with the hot girl type video. Okay, so what you have to keep in mind for that video, that's an extreme example. So two things. First of all, even with my game, more often than not, when the girl is being that level of non-compliant, it doesn't go down. So again, I'm heavily motivated. Part of my motivation with these girls who are like, being very difficult is I know it's going to make a cool lay report and it's going to be a good learning experience for you guys. So a lot of it is just I'm pushing myself because this is what I do, right? If I was working in fucking finance, I probably wouldn't be, as focused on these low investment leads. So that's the first part. Second of it, I'm not trying to brag or something like that, but I have pretty solid text game. So for me is if you do get her to respond, right? So I can give you, for example, me and you can go through the interaction, and I can give you an opener that might have a chance of getting her to respond. But just because she responds to your message doesn't mean you're back in the game. then you still have to restart the whole thing. So I'm basically going to have to, at that point, text everything for you, right? Because it's and again, even if I do everything right, the chance of it working out aren't even that high. So that's why I don't like to focus on these low probability opportunities, for other guys. It just makes no sense. Like for you, why focus on the girl who is ghosting you, who's not giving you responses? I'm sure you know by now that I'm pretty fucking persistent, and I teach guys to be persistent. So if I'm saying that it's not worth it at this point, that's not to say it's impossible. That's just to say that it's not fucking worth it, generally speaking. Do you always just bring girls over for wine and such? Ever take activities, concerts, etc.? I only do activities with girls who I'm seeing, like my booty calls and stuff like that. So I'll do one thing I've been doing lately with one of my booty calls is dinner dates. So I hate going to restaurants, but basically she'll cook, and we'll try, because she enjoys cooking, I enjoy eating, and she'll try to make various dishes like paleo for me. So we'll do that, and we'll whatever, just shoot the shit about her food. We're planning on doing hot yoga, I think, next week or something like that. So that's one thing that I will do. But I only do that for a girl who I'm already having sex with, because activity dates are not ideal for closing. My first goal is to bang the girl, and then from there I can evaluate. Okay, is this a chick who I want to actually go out with and do other things besides fuck? And that is the case sometimes. But or is this a chick who really I just don't have that much in common with, and I'd rather just do these things, like these activities, with my friends? So is she gonna be able to offer me the same level of companionship as one of my really good friends would? That's kind of the metric I'm going over by. So for first dates, I'm pretty much always either inviting them over for wine or meeting them at a bar nearby. I'm fun and interesting when conversing with people. But I use my typical type of charisma. It's either thoughtful or funny, goofy. Do I need to adjust this in order to be sexually attractive? It's really hard for me to say without actually knowing you or seeing, what your charisma is. It might actually be something that works well for you. Like, for example, I have one of my buddies, right? And my ex-coworker, but we became friends. So he was married when we were working together, and then unfortunately, very sadly, his wife passed away, leaving him alone with his daughter, right? And for him, what he's been doing the single widowed father angle, which is so totally different than what I'm doing, but it works well for him because it's congruent with his personality. So he's a little bit more, his game will be a little bit more sensitive than mine, for example. But it works for him because, again, so girls will commonly just come straight over his house because they'll be like, okay, this guy is safe. He's a father. What is he's not going to do anything, right? So so that's an angle that works well for him. So this might be something that works well for you, or it might be something that's not working well for you. I really have no way of knowing without interacting with you at all. Does that kind of make sense, man? All right. Dude, I'll just got a text from a girl who I ran a text game sliding DM. Bless. Glad to hear it, my man. Hitachi one, LMAO. If she sends 3 straight replies, how often do you wait to engage her again? I mean, I just engage her when I see the text. Again, I think guys tend to overthink this shit, but generally speaking, you see a girl text you, when I get a chance to text her back. I don't have a specific formula for exactly when. Generally, the only thing you don't want to do is if a girl is responding a few hours or a day later and you're instant texting her back. That's the only thing you don't want to do that. But other than that, you don't have to be super scientific about it. How much is the mastermind? So right now it's $39 a month. How would you run a date at a park? I had a few park dates. Well, not park dates. I wouldn't really take a girl to a park. During COVID, for a chick who didn't drink, I would just take them for a walk. So, some chicks came straight over, but if a chick during COVID objected to coming straight over, I would just would say, okay, cool, let's just take my dog for a walk. And I would walk them for 30 minutes, just shoot the shit, build some sexual tension, and pull them back to my place. Tips on making new friend groups and doing fun social things. Just be a guy who offers a lot of value. So the more value you offer, the more people are going to want to hang out with you. You can offer value just by being funny, by being interesting, by having cool skills that you can bring to the table. Whatever, anything and everything. So I think the best way to make friends is just to be value and just be a cool, fun, normal guy that people want to hang out with. On dates, I have fun and come across nice to me, but in texting, sometimes I come across awkward. What's wrong with me? Why is there a lack of congruity? I'm not sure exactly why. I need to see what exactly you're doing over text. Could be that you are just having a hard time communicating over this medium. Could be that you are, whatever, just doing this or that. It could be any number of things, man. So I need to see some examples to give you like a really solid answer. You can make a post on the forums and I'll take a look tomorrow. We hear about your highlights. What are some memorable lowlights on your dates? Oh man, so many. I don't even know where to begin. All right, here's one from last night. This chick who I hooked up with, after sex, for some reason, she looked at me and she said, "You're gonna die now." I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, everyone who has sex with me dies." It was like a very creepy, sinister moment. I was like, "Okay, then." I'm like, I'm still alive, so we'll see. But yeah, so just weird shit like that. Let's see, what are some other lowlights I've had? One chick I remember, oh my God, she was, this was like a few years ago. I remember that she wanted me, I was fingering her and then she was like, wanted me to be really aggressive, but I was like already being pretty fucking aggressive. And then she grabbed my hand and started like jamming herself with my fingers, like literally like finger raping herself with my hand. And she was going so hard that I was like, there's no way this can be pleasurable. Like this was like, believe me, like I'm not fucking squeamish. Like I have a high pain tolerance, but I was not comfortable with how hard she was going. I'm like, all right, whatever. And then she really fingered herself so hard with my hand that she actually started her period over early and had to go home. So just had a lot of weird shit like that. I mean, there's been so many. Yeah, maybe I'll make a whole video on just like weird shit that's happened to me. Is inviting a girl on Tinder over to your place to watch a movie together or Netflix a good first date? Other than wine would be a good first date. You can do that, but I just prefer wine, honestly. Why complicate things? Just you don't need to make things more complex than they need to be. Just invite a girl over for a drink to your place. I think it's probably the easiest and best way to go. So last time I asked a question, told me to call when a bratty girl seen me flaking on a hangout. I had this happen again, but she kept being excused and never answered. Best response. Again, I can't give you an exact response without seeing the interaction and the screenshots. So because I don't know exactly what is happening. So you can make a post and then, or we'll take a look and see exactly. But I don't have like a general answer. It really depends on a lot of things. Got laid last night. All right, Roman Gov. Which rare of girls do you consider relationship? Ooh. It's a question that's going to get me banned off YouTube. I mean, honestly, I don't have a single race that I consider a relationship. There's some very relationship material girls in every races. That being said, I generally am attracted to Latinas. First of all, I just find them very physically attractive. I just like the olive skin. Like it's not too dark, it's not too light though. I like the big asses, the big tits. I also like how Latina girls, generally speaking, very much take care of themselves a lot. So it's very common, before a date, a Latin girl will spend like an hour or two getting ready. I think that's kind of overkill, but it's like the gesture that counts. They're always just everything's on point. They really just like care about making a good impression. They smell good, they taste good, whatever. So just I like that. Usually, typically, they're also very nurturing. So they're like, for example, they're not going to like if they're going to be there's so many girls of other races who fall into this category as well. But generally speaking, I find that Latin women are just like a little bit more like, I don't know, just like more like my style. But it really depends on what you want and what kind of girls you're attracted to. Like I like that like feistiness, that fire, that passion, that like sense of adventure. I don't know. So that's what I personally like in a girl. Text game for good girls and girls looking for, again, same exact text game. Like I don't change my text game based on the girl's attractiveness level or based on whether I think she's a good girl or not. Quite often when a guy thinks a girl's a good girl, she's actually, well, the night before she got fucked by someone like me, like she was like handcuffed or something like that. So guys often really like, put these girls on pedestals who are not really, live up to what the guy thinks they're going to, let's just say. So yeah, same exact text game. Don't take, and that's not very nice. Indian P knows what he's talking about. All right, wow, we are buried with these questions. All right, so I'm gonna try to go through these a little faster. Do boosts really work? Yes, they do. So think of a boost as like, think of it like a hit of heroin, right? Extreme example, but if you're, I've never done heroin, but I'm assuming that if you do heroin, it feels really fucking good at first, but then it's like, then you probably feel a little bit worse than before you did it the first time. Or coke. Okay, I've done coke, so you do coke and then it's like feels good at first, but then like after a few hours you're like a little bit worse than you were in your baseline. So it's kind of like that sort of thing. You get a big boost of matches, but then your matches slow down for like a day or two. That's kind of how boosts work. So generally speaking, if you're able to get by without boosts, I recommend not using them. But again, I've also used boosts a lot personally with success. So not a big deal either way. What's the best way to keep a girl who's far away still interested? Yeah, so check out a video I did on this recently. I think it's called How to Keep a Girl Interested When You Can't Meet for a While. So check that out. How to make a girl a friend with benefits. So fuck her really well. Be a cool, normal guy. Don't get needy. And hang out with her somewhat consistently, like once or twice a week. That's really it. And don't set down the wrong expectations. Like, don't take her on fancy dinner dates or try to take her on all these activities and then wonder why she's expecting more. Just keep things simple. Invite her over to your place, to have a drink and fuck, and then that's how she'll become your friend with benefits. What's the approach for girls to live 2+ hours away? Honestly, most of the time, those situations don't work out. So honestly, very rarely does that ever go down. So really my approach is just to move on. Look for girls who are closer. Very seldom. I'm certainly not going to drive 2 hours to meet a girl who I don't know. And most often, girls are not going to want to drive 2 hours to meet a guy who they don't know. Does anyone know how to get unbanned from Hinge? Just make a Google Voice and create a new account with that number. Really, just delete the app, make a Google Voice, and then create an account with that number. How to deal with asking for STDs? Do you always use a condom? When girls ask me if I have STDs, I'll say no. And I get tested like once every 6 months. So I'll be like, I actually just got tested, a month ago. So I have my results. Girls never actually ask to see them. I mean, I guess if you're a real dick, you can lie about it. But I'm like, yeah, I just got tested like a month ago. I'm clean. But yeah, generally speaking, I do try to use a condom, and not just because of STDs, but also I don't want to have any like fucking babies, especially now that like my business is starting to like blow up. Like, that would be pretty bad. So so generally speaking, I do try to do that until I get to trust a girl and know that she's on the same page as me. And then when she tells me she's on birth control, she actually means it. What's your usual go-to outfit going out to the bar? Honestly, I dress I have white pants that I wear. They're just like khakis, and I just wear a black shirt. I dress very simply. I'm not the best person to ask for fashion advice, honestly. There's people who are just way better than me. So that's like probably my weakest point. But generally speaking, I just dress very simply. Like, I'll just dress again like white pants and then like a black shirt or a dark shirt or something like that. Something that's form-fitting. That's really my only go-to. Is like your clothes should be form-fitting, and they should like fit you well. They shouldn't be too baggy or like way too tight. How do you introduce the one during the sex first date? I'll just be like, I might just be like, hang on a second. I'll just grab the one. I'll be like, I want to use this on you, and then like if she doesn't give me any resistance, then I'll just do it. And she might be like, oh, when did you clean that? I was like before you came over, it's clean. Or she might be like, do you clean that? I'll be like, yeah, of course. Like, what do you think? I'm a slob? And then she'll be like, okay. Okay, so we answered this question. Do you ever try again on Tinder after getting a girl's number? Girl stopped answering through text, but she was really interested on Tinder, so I was thinking re-engage. No, I wouldn't do that. Because you're taking a step backward. I would just re-engage her over text. If you can't do that, if she's not going to respond over text, then there's no point in taking a step back and trying to re-engage her on Tinder. And she's going to know what you're doing also. Like, girls aren't retarded, at least most of them aren't. Like, she's going to be like, okay, I ignored this guy 3 times over text, and now he's hitting me up on Tinder. Like, clearly this guy is way too obsessed with me. Like, he's putting more energy into this than I ever would. So it's ineffective strategy. Okay, so this guy keeps asking this question. We've already answered this. After getting with a girl the first time, does it depend on the girl how often you want to see her multiple times? Yeah, of course. It definitely depends on the girl. Like, some girls I'm a lot more attracted to than others. Some girls I enjoy hanging out with a lot more than others. Like the girl who I'm seeing the most right now, I really enjoy hanging out with her outside of just having sex with her. We have a really good time. We have similar interests, similar jokes, similar humor. We just laugh a lot and fuck around with radar and shit like that. So yeah, of course, heavily depends on the girl. Question: I have bought your product. I'm also in the master room, but I feel like I haven't improved. Okay, so have you made a post kind of explain what the issue is. So, we can't help you if you don't, express to us what's going on. So yeah, make a post, man, and tag me in it and basically explain what exactly is the issue. Are you not getting matches? Are you having a hard time with text game? Are you struggling on dates? Is it internal? What exactly is the issue? So you have to tell us what is going on with you, and then I'll take a detailed look at it, and we can trouble fix, whatever it's the term, trouble solve, whatever. Fucking brain dead. We'll basically figure out what's going on and fix the issue. No, I definitely was not, dude. I was really fucking shy and awkward when I was in high school. I didn't lose my virginity until I was 19. Didn't really consistently start getting laid until I was like 23, 24. I was super awkward, super shy with girls most of my life. Yeah, so we just answered this question. I live in rural Michigan, LMAO. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so this is exactly where this guy lived. So yeah, man, extend your distance to 100 miles. Also, if you want, I can introduce you to this guy. He's a good buddy of mine. Just make a PM me on in the forums, and if you want, I can introduce you guys so you guys have like a week to go out with or something like that. Okay, Jesus Christ. How to get a girl invested in you. Okay, so how to get a girl invested. So I have numerous videos on this. Check those out. They go into detail. But basically, it's a combination of showing value that's relevant to her. So for example, what one girl finds valuable, like for example, say a girl is a total gym rat. To her, you being able to squat 400 will be a lot of value. To a girl who's not big on gym, that's going to be no value. She doesn't give a shit. So you have to show value in a way that's relevant to her, and then also just basically get her to open up. And you want to basically you get the conversation going and get her invested based on shit that's relevant to her life. So for example, if the conversation is going sexual, I'm not going to just blindly sext away. I'm going to actually say, what is your biggest turn on? And get her to explain what she's into, right? And build on that. And build like, cool. How long have you ever tried BDSM? Again, build. Okay. Jesus fucking Christ. Yo, dude, we've answered this question like 5 fucking times. I don't know why this guy keeps asking the same exact question. My answer still hasn't changed as of 5 minutes ago. Yeah, guys, be nice to Nitin. He's he's my business partner, and he's a huge part of the community. So if he's giving you advice, it's because he's trying to help. It's not because he has nothing better to do. It's a fucking he's got a lot of work that he can be doing right now. So if he's here and giving advice, I recommend at the very least you be open to it. Girl previously really interested, then lost interest after I stopped texting for a week. Now she stopped responding. I was thinking of sending, hey, are you an old man after all? Usually these are the type of girls, old son, do you think? No. It's too gamey. It's kind of weird. No, definitely don't send that. I would just say if she's been actually flaky, it depends on what's going on. If she's just not responding, like she's just not being talkative, you could say, are you always this talkative? Right, simple. If she's actually being flaky, you can say, I genuinely didn't take you for the flaky type. But again, keep things simple. Don't do these gamey, fancy texts. They're just going to be largely ineffective. After you match and have both said hi, what's the point or goal? To get her invested and then move things. The first goal is to get her invested, and also probably screen to make sure that you guys are on the same page. Like at least for me, I screen a decent amount with my text game. Not everyone does though. Some guys are, for example, if they're like struggling or something like that, they just want to get some reps in, get as many dates as possible. They might not screen, and then get her invested, and then smoothly move things towards the close. That's really it. Thoughts on game if you're still in high school? Honestly, be one of the popular kids. Really, there's no better way to get laid in high school than being one of the popular kids. But obviously, that's easier said than done. So realize that you have your whole fucking life ahead of you. Dude, I would pay a lot of money to be able to just travel back in time to when I was like 17 in high school, and like knowing what I know now. So you have everything ahead of you. Really, you haven't even gone to college yet. And that's when shit is really going to kick off. So honestly, if, for example, you're just whatever, you go to a small high school, you're not popular, and you're just kind of whatever, you just don't see that changing, then honestly just look ahead. Start hitting the gym, put on some muscle, right? Just don't give a shit also. Like just fucking have fun, fuck around. Like don't be so limited by the social structure in your high school. That's one thing I really wish I knew. Like I was like, oh, the popular kids have to like act a certain way, dude. Like I could care fucking less now. Like, so yeah, that, and then try to get into a decent college and ideally also get a scholarship there. That's one thing I really wish I did. And go to like a party school that's also somewhat academically competent, and join a fraternity in college. And that's really going to be the best way you're going to get so much pussy if you do that. So I would just say focus on the big picture. Don't just be so focused on short term, but also think long term. Because if you're in high school, you have everything ahead of you, man. Okay, I feel like I followed Alex's guide to Tinder profile, but I get no matches, no selfies, very few posts. Okay, so yeah, make a post in the, I don't know if you're in the mastermind or not, but if you're in the mastermind, make a post there because I'm more active there. If not, make a post in the forums with your profile, and we're going to take a look and see what exactly is going on and why you're not getting matches. It's probably going to be something really easy that we can fix fairly quickly. How often do you bring up to them that you're looking for something casual? Never, actually. I never do that. So some guys will be like, oh, by the way, I'm just looking for something casual. There's no need to say it. You can just, it's almost like saying like, oh, by the way, I really want to fuck you. Like, it's often you can just get that point across in more subtle, socially intelligent ways. So I'll never really say that or bring it up. Okay. Alex, do you think you of going mic'd up for a date, is that too much like some other YouTubers have done? So yeah, I want to do, okay, so here's my thing with that. I do want to do that because I feel like it could be really good learning experience for a lot of guys, and I think that it would be very valuable. I also know that video will get blown up on YouTube and we get a lot of views. So I definitely have motivation to do that. I think it'd also be interesting for myself to watch infield of me because I'm sure there's some things I'm doing that I could probably improve on, right? I'm sure there is because you never stop growing. So it'd be advantageous for that reason. That being said, I have two issues with doing this. First of all, infield has been getting really banned often on YouTube. One pattern I've noticed amongst a lot of YouTubers who've had their accounts shut down in the pickup communities that have infield. It's really usually infield that gets them shut down. So I'm very weary of doing that because I put a lot of love and hard work into this channel. I just don't want to jeopardize it over one video. The second issue is also there's the whole like kind of creepy factor. So what I mean by that is, of course, like, you know, like when you guys have seen me do, I've done, 5, 6, 7 videos with girls, but obviously every single one of those girls, I told them about that we're going to do a video beforehand and she knows exactly what's up. If I tell a girl before the date starts that, hey, I'm actually filming this, there's no way this is going to be a real date. It's not going to be actual infield because that completely changes everything. If I don't tell her, then it's kind of creepy because I'm just videotaping her without her knowledge or her consent. It's not that I'm like highly ethically opposed to it or anything like that. It's just like, I feel like it's not something that, like, especially as I try to keep growing this channel, it's not something that mainstream audience is going to like really appreciate or is going to appeal to. Like, for example, right now, like 20% of Playing with Fire is actually women. Like 20% of our viewers are women. And I want to keep growing that, right? I want to appeal to, more people, not less people. So, women are really not going to, most women are not going to like the idea of being secretly videotaped without their consent. There's also legal issues with that. So, but the main problem for me is really, honestly, is this point is just getting banned off YouTube if I do that. So for that reason, I haven't done that. That's not to say I will never do it, but yeah, that's kind of my logic. Just wanted to say you're the best, man. Thanks, man. Much appreciated. Okay. Met a girl while traveling a couple of years ago, and we started messaging a lot recently on Facebook. What's the best way to keep things warm until travel is a thing again? Honestly, I just don't focus on the girls who are not in my proximity. But again, I would just think about it this way: you have nothing to lose, right? You guys are in different cities. It's not currently happening. Think of it as a situation where you have only something to gain but nothing to lose. So don't worry about fucking it up. Just chat with her like you would chat with any normal person. Take risks. Do what you think. Do what your gut tells you to do. Fun, flirt, whatever. Fuck around. Take some risks, and you have nothing to lose. That's really my advice on that. Look at it from that perspective. I like the story you gave about fighting off a famous guy at a bar who's trying to. Can you expand on how you've been? Yeah, that was Peter Dante. Yeah, that was fucking hilarious. Expand how you banter with guys sitting on your girl. I don't. So if a guy is trying to steal my girl from me, I won't banter them. I'll just completely ignore them. I'll make it really awkward for them. And most guys usually can't handle that awkwardness. So really, I won't like, I think this is a mistake guys make. Like another guy's trying to aim up them and steal their girl, and they just like befriend that guy. And they want to like be their friend. Fuck that. I'm just going to make that guy feel super fucking awkward. I'm not going to say anything to him. I'm just literally going to be like, he's going to say something, be like, yeah, just focus on the girl and just talk with her and kind of box him out with my body language. And if the guy's being super obnoxious, like he's like being just like way over the top, like, hey, I'm trying to have a good time with my girl here. Is there a problem? Like, and then be like, yeah, man, we're good. It's okay. We're good, man. Thank you. Like something like that. Just make him feel really awkward. But I'm not going to get super confrontational simply because that's going to be a low value move in front of the girl. So just doing something like that and just boxing out with your body language is fairly effective. What's the best way to go from making out on your couch balcony and getting her back to your room? Really easy. Just pick her up and carry her to your room, honestly. A lot of girls really enjoy getting picked up. So it's just like a very dominant move. So I'll just maybe, we're making out my couch. Then, I'll maybe like pull down her shirt and like start kissing her tits, get her horny. And then I'll be like, I'll maybe put her hand on my boner. And then I'll be like, and I'll just literally just be like, just pick her up and just carry her to my bedroom. That's honestly my go-to move. What's your mindset to get girls? Yeah, I mean, that's a fairly complex question, but I would say I just see it as like a good proposition for them. So it would be like, think about it this way. If I was to, okay, so right now my YouTube channel has almost 20,000 subscribers. If I was to proposition a guy who has 500 subscribers and say, hey, man, do you want to cross promote? That's going to be a very good proposition for him, right? That's a very, very good deal for him. So that's the mindset you almost want to have. Versus if I was to hit up a guy that has 1 million subscribers, well, that trade is much better in my favor. So generally when I talk to women, I try to think of them almost as like the guy with the 5, kind of sounds weird, but like basically like I'm offering them a lot of value. That's kind of like the mindset I want to have. Like the value proposition is very good for them. So when you have that in place, then it makes everything else a little bit easier. But also generally speaking, I'm also like screening. So I'll ask the girl questions, not just to, keep the conversation going, but actually shit that I'm somewhat interested in. So for example, if a girl has a dog, I might talk about like dogs for a while because I fucking, I got a dog, find it interesting. I'll crack jokes about dogs. Like today I was at the gym and some chick approached me and she's like, oh, why does your dog have that little thing around his neck? I'm like, oh, you just got an operation. So this keeps him from sucking his own dick. Like, how dogs like to do that. She's like, haha, yeah. So again, like stuff like that. What are your plans for the next 5 years? Ooh, I really want to blow up playing with fire. I want to make this I want to take this to 1 million, 10 million subscribers. I want to expand also, not just purely on picking up girls, but also just how to have the best fucking life possible. Fitness, business, travel, just having cool experiences. I'm also interested in like, nootropics and stuff like that, really getting your health on point, your mind on point, just everything. Also, obviously, I always want to keep things very real, so I'm not going to just start watering down my content or something like that, or Giving you guys very bullshit type of like, yeah, just have fun, man, kind of advice. So fuck that. I want to really blow up playing with fire. We're developing our app some more. Really, what I want to do is actually pretty hard, but I want to get AI to be able to give the same kind of text advice that I can. So right now, one of the projects we're pursuing is just a small example, but is to actually get AI that can, for example, like you would upload your screenshot and it would tell you the same kind of feedback, for example, or maybe slightly worse than I would give you, or ideally something better than I would give you, right? So this would allow us to scale much more because, there's only one of me. I can only help so many people at one time. But if I can get a computer that can help infinite people, like that would be fucking awesome. So just a lot of stuff like that, just like thinking bigger and expanding. Personally, in terms of, again, I want to really, growing up, I've always wanted to get jacked as fuck. I just always thought it would be cool. For whatever reason, just had so many injuries in my life. Just never happened. So right now, really, I'm just like in the best shape I've ever been, which is not to say that much, but so just keep building on that. Just do cool shit in my lifestyle. I want to like hang out with successful people. Just do like bucket list type of shit. Basically like Dan Bilzerian, but I don't really care about guns. What's the frame to have with a girl who's young and bratty? So yeah, check out the video I did on how to text bratty girls. So really, that's the frame. It's the guy who's not affected by anything. Like you're just a fucking mountain. You're a rock. Like she can throw anything at you and it's just gonna bounce off. Doesn't affect you. Like you are not bothered by her shit test at all. Almost like the way when I'm with my dog and he does something I don't like. I'm like, why did you do that, Rick? Or that wasn't nice of you. He's like, I don't think of him as like, I'm just like, Rhaegar, you fucking bastard. Like it's kind of like that kind of vibe. Don't have a question. Just want to say thanks for being so real. You're one of the most straightforward, no BS coaches out there. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I try to be. Ask me what do I have on that smells so good. She says, what do you have on? A hard on, but I don't know. I didn't know you can smell it. Hopefully she cannot smell your boner. That would mean you're in desperate need of a shower. You show all the success you have, but what would you say is the percentage of conversations going nowhere? The majority of them, honestly. I've always said this: majority of your conversations are going to go nowhere, and that's okay. If I'm doing cold approach, majority of girls I'm not going to get a date with. That's just part of the game. When I was doing sales, I knew the majority of people would not buy my product, and that wasn't to say I was a bad salesman or there's anything wrong with my approach. It was just that that's just the way the odds are, and that's kind of how it is with game. The majority of the time, it just won't happen. That's okay. All you can do is keep trying and also maximize your success so that your success rate is as high as it possibly can be in any given situation. What are your opinions? So yeah, we just answered this question, but generally speaking, the analogy I made is like Tinder Boost is like doing the line of coke, right? You feel better for a while, but then you kind of go back and you're a little bit below baseline for a little bit, but after a few days or so, you'll go back to baseline. So it's kind of like that. Get that boost, but then you go a little bit below baseline because basically Tinder is like, okay, if we just chip them on matches, then maybe he'll buy more boosts, right? So it's kind of like they're kind of doing that, which is pretty shitty, I think, in my opinion. I don't really like that. I think it's a shady business practice, but whatever. It is what it is. So so generally speaking, sometimes I'll use boost, sometimes I won't. I've never done a Bumble boost. I get more than enough matches on Bumble, so I don't find it necessary. Honest Signals opener series. Yeah, I like Honest Signals a lot. It's one of the few channels who I have respect for. I actually want to have Austin on sometime soon. How do I revive a dead Tinder comment from a month ago? So I have a whole video on this, but basically you can do any number of things. Depends. Did the conversation just fizzle out? Or for example, there's like 3-4 texts in a row from you that she just didn't respond to. But I have a good meme for this. It's the skeleton meme. You go to the forums. I posted there before. It's also on our Instagram, a real playing fire, but it's just like a skeleton with like a fucking empty beer in his hand and says, waiting for you to text back like, and then it's just dead. Or just, if it's just whatever, the conversation died down, you can just re-engage her with, yo, sexy. Like, how are you? Like, whatever, just get the conversation going. Nice, man. Welcome to BWF. Do you eat pussy on the first date? Do you get worried about STDs? Also, do girls a lot? Oh my God. Dude, what is your fucking obsession with STDs? Yes, I do eat pussy on the first date. No, I'm not that worried about it because most STDs are very easily treatable with a week of antibiotics. Honestly, I think it's almost worse to get a cold or a flu, which can last several weeks, versus an STD. Most of the time you don't have symptoms and you can just knock it out after a small round of antibiotics. So no, I don't really worry about it. Do you ever feel posting your openness will lead to them being? Of course, yeah, it definitely will. Especially if the channel keeps growing and growing. It is what it is. Nothing I can do about that. What's the best approach for hot gym girls? Also, most think I'm a bad boy, but I'm not. I'm thinking I should be. Thanks for your awesome channel info. No problem, man. So gym is notoriously tricky, honestly. I haven't had that much success in the gym. I go to the gym like 6 days a week. But yeah, so I've done a few approaches in the gym, and just it seems I've gotten a lot of numbers in the gym for some reason, one reason or another. They've always fizzled out. I don't know why. Maybe it's just been a string of bad luck. I think that for the gym, I would say there's a few things I have noticed. First of all, don't approach a girl when she's in the middle of the set. Don't try to get her a good time. Try to get her when she's taking a break, when she's chilling, like whatever. You don't want to approach her when she's like in the middle of the workout. That's number one mistake. Don't fucking do that. Second thing is don't try to do the whole like, hey, I noticed you were doing this. I want to give you some feedback angle. That's literally the strategy that every guy fucking tries. I see this all the time. It's so cringe. Like, oh, you can really just giving unsolicited like workout advice. Don't do that. That's super fucking lame. But generally speaking, I wouldn't go super direct either. I wouldn't be like, hey, you're really hot and I want to meet you. It better than the first two, but I don't think it's going to be the best for the gym. I would say go a little bit more low key. Like I'd be like for example, something contextual. Be like she just finished doing legs or something like that. Be like, oh, look at this. We're both doing legs today. Or like, leg day, right? She'll be like, yeah. I'm like, cool. I've actually seen you around. You come here often? Yeah, cool. I usually come here like 4 or 5. Yeah, you're always in the yoga section doing like crazy flexible things that I can't do. And then just build on that. And from there, it's just like normal game. But just try to kind of just slip in a little bit smoothly and go with something contextual. Oh, also with gym, don't try to talk to them for too long because remember they're probably trying to get back to their workout, right? So you don't want to be there like fucking beating around the bush. Like try to get the conversation going and then close. But cool. Listen, you want to be the one that bounces on her. Like, listen, I gotta get back to my workout, but we should grab a drink sometime. Wait. She'll say, yeah, sure, sounds good. Or no, I have a boyfriend. Or no, I am a lesbian. Whatever. Most often, if you've done everything right, she'll probably say, yeah, sounds good. I'm like, cool. Let me grab your number. Like, cool. Like, nice to meet you. And like, cool, I'll text you later. I gotta go. Talking to a girl on Tinder, got her number. She said, what are you doing? I'm bored. I replied, can I change that? She loved the message. I said, please. Asked if she was submissive. I got no response. Yeah, it sounds like that's kind of overkill. She said, what are you doing? I'm bored. I would have said, just finishing up some work. Perhaps I wouldn't ask her, can I change that? Like, well, you're asking for permission. No, fuck that. She said, what are you doing? I'm bored. I would say, just finishing up some work. Perhaps you can be my distraction. No, right? That's the response I would give. When she said, please, okay, so say if I was picking up from there, please, I would just then say, like maybe like, do you like wine? And she would say, yeah. Like, cool. Let's split a bottle. Let's split a bottle or something like that. Or cool, come join me for class. Just go for the close at that point. There's no need to ask her if she's submissive or not. At that point, it doesn't matter. What's the best? Okay, so we just answered this. What's a good way to develop a social game? Are there any movies you recommend? Sometimes I really get bored talking to girls. I find initially most are fairly dry and uninteresting. Not movie, but my favorite TV show is not my favorite, but one of them is Californication. I think that is by far the best TV show in terms of like learning game. Like Hank Moody just like is fucking on point. Like very smooth, very laid back, very carefree, but he's also alpha and manly and just escalate. So I think that's a good example. Social, but other than that, I don't know. I don't really do much social circle game. Really, when I hang out with my friends, because I want to hang out with my friends and do shit. Like sometimes I'll like do shit like me and my booty call will play like fucking trivia with my roommate and his girlfriend or something like that. I do that not because I want to develop my social game or something like that, just because I just want to do that. Or like sometimes like if I have a bunch of friends in town, we'll all hang out. But again, it's not like, oh, it's my social circle game. It's more just like, yeah, these are people who I want to spend time with. Isn't Boston run similar lifestyle to yours? A lot of girls, you live at home, can't close a meet up at your place. Can't close with a meet. Yeah, it's possible. It's going to be a lot harder. I think that, again, I can't overstate this enough. What's it called? Or whatever the word is having your own place is key. Just, again, anyone can have their own place within 4 or 5 months, pretty much anyone within 3-4 months, if they just dedicate their mind to it, just focus on making more money. And it's really not going to be, again, if you have roommates, it's really not going to be that expensive. Like you don't need a crazy baller pad. You just live with like, a bunch of your buddies and, pay like whatever, $300, $400, $500 a month. So, and at that point, yes, it is going to be possible. It's not going to happen overnight. Obviously, it took me a while to, learn game and develop financial independence and stuff. It's going to be work, but definitely worth it. I mean, for sure. I think those things, every guy, something every guy should do. Sorry, I'm just fucking stumbling on my words right now. All right, we answered this question. My 2 game movies, Swingers and Magic Mike. I actually haven't seen either one of those. I heard Swingers is a classic though. Although I've seen clips from that and I don't like, Vince Vaughn's like a little corny. He's like, oh, babe. Oh, I don't know, something like, oh, that's a good babe. Or something. I don't know. He uses some weird outdated 90s term that no longer applies. How do you keep a girl interested when she can't leave her house because of COVID and she doesn't know when she'll leave? I've been texting her once a week. I probably wouldn't even bother with her then. I would just hit her up after COVID. Like again, like I'm not going to focus my energy on these low probability situations. I don't recommend you do either. Like if she can't leave her house because of COVID, say cool, okay, and just hit her up after COVID ends. And that's going to be in a few months or in a year or whatever. Like this is a waste of your energy. Help, this chick on Hinge keeps trying to make me get the Kick app. Catfish 99%. Yeah, although I have had some girls who are legit and use Kick, but mostly they're older. So if this chick is young, then it's going to be definitely more in terms of catfish. If she's over 30, then more likely that she's legit. But just say, like, just ask her for her Instagram. Say, like, I don't use Kick. Like, just hit me up on Instagram or text me or something like that. If she has a real problem with Instagram and text, then fuck that. Not worth it. All right, guys, we have just gone for about 2 fucking hours, and my voice is starting to die. Let's do another. We'll just do another 15 minutes since we still have a lot of questions to go through. Let's do we'll go through another 15 minutes, and then anything I can't answer, we'll go through next time. Why do so many chicks use those filters to give them animal faces and ears on their profiles? Because they all know better and they think it looks good, honestly. Why do women match with me? I give them decent openers and just never text back. Like, don't bother matching me. Then, right? No, I mean, again, so I've talked about this earlier. There could be any number of reasons why she doesn't respond. She got laid the night before and she's no longer horny. She got back together with her ex. She actually didn't get your opener and there was a technical error. She's traveling. She's sick. She is stressed. She is not actively using this app. She's using another app. She is, it's so many number of things why a girl can match with you and not respond to the opener. So I think it's silly if it just concludes because, she was wasting your time. That's not usually what the case was. It can be any number of these weird little things. That's just honestly part of the game, to be honest. Okay. Tips for making friends in a new city. So again, I kind of talked about this earlier. Just be a cool, normal guy with something to offer. So for example, let's say you're a photographer. Well, it's something you can offer that people are going to find valuable. Let's say you have a cool place and you can have parties. Again, something to offer. So you have a hot tub. Let's say you have a good game and you can get your friend group laid. Let's say you're good at technology. Let's say, like for me, for example, something that someone can offer me is being very knowledgeable in marketing. Like that to me is going to be like, okay, like I don't care if this guy gets laid or not. If he's a top-notch internet marketer, I can pick his brains. So to me, that's value. So again, value is going to differ based on the person. So have something to offer, be a cool, normal guy, be fun to go out with. Don't be super demanding or weird, and just kind of put yourself out there, honestly. Also use the resources like, for example, you have Playing with Fire, right? So you can make a post and see if anyone's in your city. And so it's going to be a good something because it's going to be something you guys have in common. Your undying love for me. So again, so just take advantage of those resources. Post in other pickup groups. So you guys with similar interests. For example, if you're into working out or something, you hang out with other guys who work out. Again, I would say just try to make friends with people who have similar interests than you, and then one friend will lead to other friends and stuff like that. Like I remember when I moved to LA, I only knew 2 people who lived there. My college friend and my ex-girlfriend. And a lot of it was my college friend introduced me to one guy, and he introduced me to other people. Then I met a few people. This is back when RSD Inner Circle was a thing. I met one guy through RSD Inner Circle. He introduced me to a bunch of other people, and those people introduced me to this, which introduced me to that. So again, it's going to be kind of one of those things. Okay. Do you have a guide on how to use toys, specifically vibrator? I mean, I don't think you need a guide. It's going to give you a very simple answer. Take the vibrator, turn it on, put it on the low setting. First, circle it around her don't go straight for the clit. Put it around her inner thigh. Let her get accustomed to it. Actually, maybe I should make a video on this. Maybe I should make a video demonstration, although it'll probably get banned off YouTube, so that's the downside. Put it around her inner thigh, slowly move it around, get her excited. And also don't do this right away. Like do this like after you've been like fingering her, eating her out. Like she has to be like wet and in the mood. Then slowly put it on her clit and see how she responds. Is it too intense for her? If it's too intense, then you can buffer it with your hand. So there will be say this is the clit. So you put your hand, then vibrate on top of the hand to kind of buffer it. If not, then you can put on her. Does she want it more or less? Which way? Do you want you to move it up or down? Just basically pay attention to her body. Honestly, my favorite thing is to use the hitachi while I fuck her. So that way she gets the experience of she gets the G-spot orgasm and the clitoral orgasm, which usually most girls really enjoy. Do you promote degeneracy? Sure, why not? When you try to soft closing a girl, what's the right compliance she's supposed to give you? And when she's not compliant, how do you proceed properly? Well, the right compliance is yes or sounds good. So if I say we should get together sometime soon, and the girl says yes, or she says sure, why not, or okay, or what would you like to do? That's a positive. Now if she gives me a neutral answer, like yeah, maybe, or like yeah, let me think about it, or like sends me just like an emoji, just an emoji, then that's a maybe answer, right? So I'll call that out. I'll say you don't sound confident, or is that a yes? Or just something like that. So just kind of be a little polarizing, just try to move her into the yes or no category. Now if she says no, which really rarely ever happens, I'll say why? Just ask her what's up. Usually means there's some unanswered concern or something, whatever. But that won't happen that often. How do I get super hot gym girl for long-term relationship? So yeah, we kind of answer this question. Yeah, I mean, the long-term relationship part is going to depend on how you connect with the girl. And all that for the lulz. Okay. How do you make a good bio on Tinder? So I have a whole video on this. Check it out, how to create the ultimate Tinder bio. So yeah, take a look at that. It goes into extreme detail. You just got to ask her straight up, are we still talking about this STD thing? Tips on approaching girls in a dance club with loud music. I honestly don't go to dance clubs with loud music. I just don't like that shit. My voice, as you can tell now, even though there's no noise in the background, just because I'm going to have to project my voice right now, it's starting to go out a little bit. So my voice personally goes out really fast at clubs. So I don't fucking like loud music. I just find that shit annoying. So I'm just not going to go there. So for me, honestly, that's just going to be like, just fuck that. But generally speaking, if that is your thing for some reason, then try to talk to girls in the smoking area, or a place where they're not so loud, or just again, like try to project your voice so she hears you and say, hey, Alex, say cool, it's fucking loud. Talk to her for maybe 30 seconds and good eye contact, be physical, but hey, it's fucking loud. Let's go to the bar, let's grab a drink. Just like move her over to a place where it's a little quieter. Just hit that like button. Yes, please. Yes, so that is going to be, we don't have that option with YouTube, but we are going to do that when we move over to the forum app. So if you go on there, you see that he does have the admin badge. If a girl doesn't want to come over, she wants to meet in public, I'll meet her in public. First of all, I'll figure out the reason why she doesn't want to come over. So it can be one of two things. I've talked about this in another video. It could be that stranger danger, like she just doesn't feel comfortable going to a guy's place she doesn't know, which honestly I can understand because she's a 100-pound woman going to a guy who weighs like 170 pounds, who's like way bigger than her, and it's like it can be a scary situation. So I can understand that. So that's most commonly what it is. The second possibility is that it's not about safety. It's just that she's just a prude. She hates sex, or it's not that she hates sex. She just doesn't want to be that type of girl, or she doesn't want to put it out on the first date, whatever, right? If she's in that category, then I'm going to reevaluate how much I actually want to meet up with her. But most likely she's going to be in the first category, in which case I'll say, it's cool, we can meet at a bar nearby first. We'll just meet her at a bar. Okay. Age is always a problem for me. In what sense? You're too young, you're too old. What exactly is the issue? They do this scene on the stream. All right, James, let me know, PM me and let me know how exactly we can do that, because I would definitely be down to do that. I just don't know how to do that. How do you submit a question? Well, you just did, and I answered it. I'm assuming you mean to the forums. You just go to forums.playingfire.com, create an account, takes like 10 seconds, and then you just make a post. Oh, so you're young. You're gonna get. I mean, part of it is unavoidable. You're gonna get older, man. Like you're gonna be just do the best you can. And if a girl makes a big deal out of it, be like, really? You're like 3 years older than me. Like, what the fuck? Like, make her feel like she's the weird one for making an issue. But honestly, like when I was like in 23, 24, I was going through MILF phase where I was going for girls who are like 40 plus, right? Like I was living in LA, so there's all these hot Beverly Hills housewives. And I was like all about like big titty MILF. And so like I remember one time I approached this chick who was like 48 or some 49 when I was like 22 at a mall. And then she was so mind fucked. She's like, honey, you're like 18. I'm like, listen, I'm 22. She's like, okay. She's like, my daughter is older than you. She's like, why are you hitting on me? I'm like, honestly, like I just find you very attractive. She's like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no. I actually want to bang her a month later. So again, just fucking fully own it. Don't be embarrassed about it. Make a big deal out of it. And reframe the whole thing. I'd be like, yeah, do you not like young guys with stamina? Does it ever work to call a girl out for ghosting? Girl was really down to drink and stuff. Hey, yeah, it does. Absolutely. I call girls out all the time. I would probably say I generally didn't take you for the flaky type. That's a response I've used with a lot of success in the past. Bro, how do you find wings out of high school? Didn't have many friends, never went to college. Now I'm 25. Most of the forums in the world. Dude, just make a post in the, we have guys from Playing with Fire is getting pretty big now. We have guys from all over the place. So make a post in the forums. And then if I know someone personally who lives in your city, I'll do my best to introduce you. And if not, there's going to be other guys who might know someone. So yeah, I think the best bet is to make a post in the forums, join our Facebook group, join our mastermind, just connect through there. I know we've had numerous guys who became friends through Playing with Fire. Sure, it's possible. It's going to be harder. I've seen fat guys with hot slim girls, but again, the odds are against you. I would say yes, it's possible, but focus on losing weight as well. Do you try not to text too much? Some channels suggest too much texting is bad, but online dating isn't necessary texting more so. Again, it's not so much about how much you text, it's about what you're texting and what the purpose behind the text is. So you'll see I have some layer reports that are like 3-4 screenshots long, like super basic. And some of them are 30 to 40 screenshots long. It's not that one chick I felt like being more chatty with. It's just that one girl, whatever, just required more so. So I'm a big believer in not having these weird arbitrary rules like, oh, you can't double text a girl or you can't send something more than like 2 sentences. No, I'm just a big believer in doing what is effective. And what is effective is going to vary on the situation. Also, honestly, most YouTube channels who are talking about texting have no idea what the fuck they're talking about or are just basically pulling shit out of their ass. So I've seen this quite often. Do you mean the Playing with Fire forums? Yes. But again, do you know what I mean? Like 90% of the time when I get the guys on the phone, they're just saying, oh, I'm not meeting girls yet. I'm just focused on business. Why do they care? Why do you care? What are you talking about? What guys are you getting on the phone? What? I'm kind of confused on what you're talking about. I'm assuming this is okay. I think what you mean is you're trying to network with guys. I'm just assuming a lot here. You're trying to network with guys and you're trying to meet wings to go out with, and someone's saying, I'm just not meeting girls yet. I'm just focused on business. I'll just say, well, you can fucking do both. I work on my business and I go out and meet girls. I also go to the gym and I also hang out with my family and friends. And I fucking play with my dog. You can do more than one thing in your life, So I would just say that. It's honestly not that hard to make friends if you have something to offer. I mean this with absolutely no offense, but if you're having a really hard time making friends, part of this is the world we live in nowadays. People are, attracted, fucking stuck on their phones and shit. Partially could be where you live. Maybe you live somewhere rural, but also maybe something that you're doing wrong. Maybe you're, just being annoying, or you're not offering any value to your friends or something like that. So I would just also support you to evaluate your situation as well and just look at it from an honest, perspective. Then a girl walking her dog during quarantine approached her, talked for over an hour, went platonic, but shared some deep stuff. Got her number, seems unengaged. Okay, I'm not sure if there's a question here, but maybe she's just busy. Maybe she's not a good texter. Could be any number of things. Much easier for me to make friends with the girls, but even meeting a guy in the gym, I take it slow, chill, ask for my number, I text him. Okay, I'm not sure why we are talking so much about meeting guys here. What the fuck is going on? But yeah, Playing with Fire, we're generally focused on meeting girls, not on meeting guys. Just told a girl I can work her out. She said, oh yeah, what should I follow with? She said, oh yeah, I would just say yeah. Literally just keep it simple. Yeah, and a winky face or something like that. Just keep things very simple. So don't need to be like overqualify yourself or whatever. Says, oh yeah, just say yeah. And she's like, haha, okay. I'll keep that in mind. Life-changing book suggestions, yes. Total Recall by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Fucking love that book. It's an epic book. Right now, I'm reading Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. Also seems pretty promising, although I wouldn't say it's life-changing. What other books have been really influential for me? I like the Elon Musk autobiography, but I wouldn't say that was life-changing either. Steve Jobs' autobiography was also pretty interesting. Oh, one book that I like. It was called like Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willing. I would say that's somewhat life-changing book. It definitely affected a lot and just taking responsibility for everything in your life. I think that's a really, really good book. I've read it like 3-4 times. So I would say those just off the top of my head. Alex, do you think this is all just a numbers game? No, I think it's partially a numbers game. So I think that there's 2 factors, right? Three factors when it comes to meeting girls. First factor is your sexual market value. So how attractive you are, whatever, how much status you have, all that shit. Second is your game. And third is the numbers, the amount of attempts you take. So for example, say you're a really good looking guy and you have excellent game, but you never leave your apartment and you don't have Tinder, you're not going to get laid. Say that you are constantly going out and trying to meet girls, but you have no game, then you're also probably not going to get laid, right? So it's a combination of things. And you want to, these 3 parts of the equation, you want to focus on maximizing each part. Develop your sexual market value, develop your game, and also go out and run a high volume. Those are going to be the 3 things you're going to want to do. This girl said, I wasn't what you expect, and I simply replied, what do you expect? She hasn't texted me back in 3 years. I would say, again, I don't know if this, I need more context. Did this happen after the date? Did this happen before you guys met? What if this happened after the date, then it's probably a bad sign and she's not interested. Something you did that turned her off. If this is pre-date, I would say, don't worry, comma, it's not your question. Or don't think too hard now. Probably the second one. Are you always a stalk compress as whiny, annoying if the girl's nerdy and they're your friend? No, I think it works just fine. I mean, if you're doing this, I think it come across as whiny, annoying if you text her and she hasn't responded in 10 minutes and you're double texting her that right away. But if it's been a few days, I think you're totally fine. You came off too aggressive, looks like honest. Okay, not sure what this is referring to. Okay. I just want to vouch for the claim that Snapchat will kill a chance of meeting every single time. They always die, phone on WhatsApp or nothing. Yeah, I agree, definitely. I think that I played around with Snapchat for 3-4 months. It was about 2 years, 3 years ago, and I found it to be largely a waste of time. Just fucking not worth it. No point in doing it. No problem. Iron Gains. At what point in your life did it really just start clicking for you, Alex? I can imagine sales taught you a lot of people. It wasn't just one point. It was a series of small. So there wasn't this one magic epiphany where I was like, it all makes sense now. It was a series of small epiphanies, over time. And then some ups and downs along the way. So yeah, I would say, when I started putting myself out there and trying to learn more, I mean, when I first got into, I remember, for example, 21 years old. I'm first time I ever visited California before I moved here. It was me and one of my really good friends from college, and we were hanging out with this girl that he was friends with, right? And she was what I would consider whatever, I wouldn't even think twice about it. By the time, what I would consider way out of my league, the hot popular girl, it's lived in a fancy mansion, rich OC, whatever. Just someone who I always considered out of my league. And I remember I considered her so far out of my league that I wasn't even thinking about trying to hook up with her, right? It was just not even my reality. I remember we were all drinking and just laughing. And then I said something about Russian. And she's like, oh, you speak Russian? I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, can you say something in Russian? And I just I'm like, sure. And then I started speaking Russian to her. Da, могу тебе поговорить по-русски. And then she's like, I like that. And then my buddy excused himself because he kind of figured out what's going on. And it was just me and her. And I was just and she's like, oh, say more. She's like, you're gonna get a girl hot and bothered with all this Russian. I was just like, what? What's she talking about? And then fucking after 20 minutes, it hit me holy shit, this chick is actually attracted to me. She wants to fuck. So then I made a move and we had sex. And that was a mini epiphany for me. I remember when we were driving home that night, very vividly, I was like, holy shit, that was so much easier than I always made game out to be. This was I think girl number 6 or 7 for me. I was like, this was so easy. And all I did was just be myself And wow, like Russian like can actually be DHV. Like girls actually enjoy when a guy speaks a different language. Like that can actually be something I thought was my weakness because I wasn't a native English speaker, can actually be, work to my advantage. Interesting. Okay, that was a mini epiphany. Another situation, whatever, maybe 6 months from now. So just like a series of epiphanies like that, and just progressively move things forward. I remember another one I had. Okay, so this is when I started getting into online game. And what is the conventional wisdom? Shirtless selfies, bad. You look like a douchebag. Girls don't like that. And that's what I was convinced of for so long. And then I remember I read Will Friedman's book, Revolutionary Lifestyle Design. And he talks about how he had a shirtless selfie. I was like, no way, like such douchey. But I'm like, okay, well, this guy seems legit. Why don't I just try it and just be open-minded and see what happens? And I tried it, and I got laid like the following night. Like some chick was like, hey, I like your abs. Like, holy shit, like there's something to this. Like, even though conventional wisdom says you shouldn't do this, conventional wisdom is fucking bullshit. And, mainly marketing hype or whatever. So, okay. So again, it's just like a series of epiphanies like that. Okay, so sorry I typed this wrong earlier. Is it a smart idea to get into this at my age? I just turned 24, never had the best of luck with girls because I never learned this stuff, always been a good guy. Yeah, absolutely. 24 is, I got into game when I was 22, but yeah, so perfect time to get into game. And you don't want to wait until you're fucking 40 years old and, you're like fucking, old and decrepit. So yeah, I think any age is a good age. So no matter what age you are, you should get into trying to become better with women. Just like any age you are, you should get into fitness. Like I didn't really start weightlifting regularly until I was like, because I had so many injuries like just all throughout my life until I was like 28. When I really just became dedicated to like consistently lifting and eating a calorie surplus and just focusing on my macros and progressive overload and all that stuff. So, but like I wasn't like, fuck, it's too late for me. I should have started when I was younger. You are where you are. What do I do if a girl says she's very submissive? How could I move it sexual so I can get some pics? Well, why is the goal to get pics? The goal should be to get the girl to meet up with you, right? So I think a lot of guys are obsessed about fucking getting pics, but I don't understand why. So again, I would need to see the conversation thread, what exactly is going on, but I would just move it forward. I would first of all, she says she's very submissive. I would say perfect. This must be your lucky night then. She's like, why? She's like, because I'm very dominant, right? And she's like, oh, really? I'd be like, yeah. And then at that point, probably start moving things forward towards the meetup. Like, again, in a smooth way, like, oh yeah, like this must be a match made in heaven then. Match made, you're gonna have some fun in my red sex dungeon or whatever. She's like, really? Like, again, like just move things forward in a smooth, progressive way from there. But yeah, the goal is not to get pics. Yo, dude, just want to thank you. Followed some of your tips and finally got laid again. Cheers, bro. Nice, man. I'm glad to hear. It's always good to hear people having success with my content / material. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to do, we've gone for 2 hours and 20 minutes. Holy shit. This is the longest live stream I've ever done. We're going to go for another 9 minutes and end this off at 2 minutes and 30. What are you doing with a girl when you have over for wine? Are you watching something or just sitting across from each other and chatting? And how do you get her to bed without carrying her? What am I doing? Just shooting the shit with her. I don't know. Yeah, we're not watching a movie or something like that. I think that's suboptimal. I'm just chatting with her, like having fun with her, like we're shooting the shit, and then without carrying her. I mean, why not? Are you like, not to be a dick, but are you like too weak to pick up a girl or something like that? Like if that's the case, then you got to focus on weightlifting. But another option is you can just grab her hand and lead her there, like just be like, again, but you want to do this after she gets horny. Like when there's sexual tension, she's horny, like it just makes no sense for you guys to keep doing things on the couch and just take her hand and lead her there. But carrying her is more powerful. I've been on dating apps for 10 months and didn't go on a single date. I've had dates set up and almost got into a relationship. I've gotten burned every time. Thoughts? How did you almost get into a relationship without being on a date? That sounds odd. I don't know how you can get into almost being in a relationship without even meeting the girl. But we need to take a look at what exactly is going on. Is it your text game? Is it your profile? That's the problem. What if it's your text game? What point? Is it your banter? Is it your closing? Are you getting needy? What exactly are you doing wrong? So make a post in the forums. If you're part of the mastermind group, even better. If not, make a post in the forums and explain what exactly is going on. We basically have to figure out what exactly is the whatever, what do you call it, the choke point, and then basically, fix the problem. How much do you spend in dating apps a month? Are we talking about money or time? In terms of money, I don't know, not much, like probably like $30, whatever. I have a Tinder subscription and Tinder Gold and Bumble Premium, free version of Hinge, so maybe $50 a month. I don't really do boosts or super likes. In terms of time, I don't know. I mean, I'm not like, I don't have like, okay, Friday, like Thursday from 7 to 9, it's going to be my fucking Tinder night. I'm going to sit home and swipe. I'm doing this shit mainly when I'm like in between sets of the gym, or I'm stuck in traffic, I'm just bored, killing time. So that's mainly what I'm, doing online. Like, so I don't really have an answer to that, because it's like, I would have been either doing nothing or I'm, Tindering or something like that. Okay. How old are you? I am 30 years old. They stand me up, or an issue comes up or something. Yeah, so like I said earlier, make a post. We have to figure out what exactly. So it sounds like it's probably your text game. Or for some reason, why are girls standing you up? Is it because you are setting up the date in a bad way, or you're getting needy? What exactly is the issue? My bad. Just repost your question. So there we go. Sounds like we just answered the question. I usually get sad, mad, or needy. So most likely it's like all three of these things, and that's turning the girl off. So you have to not get sad, mad, and needy. How do you respond if she replies with ha ha ha? It depends on the context. What did she reply ha 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 to? What exactly did you say? So guys, I want to answer everyone's questions, but I need context. I can't I'm not a magician. I don't know exactly what is going on, behind the scenes. So you have to give me like the context so I can give you accurate advice. At this point, I believe I'm cursed because it seems like my profile is good. I've done everything right. Maybe I don't care too much. No, it sounds like you're being sad, mad, and needy, and that's turning girls off. From my experience, I'm 24. Most girls who are that age are not going for young guys unless value is demonstrated. Some girls care. Some girls only want older guys. Some girls don't give a shit. So I don't think it's fair to just conclude. Some girls, yes, some girls don't want a younger guy, and some girls don't really give a shit. Does your response time change based on what medium you're using? Like, so you respond fast to versus text, and if so, no, it doesn't. Honestly, again, I think this is a lot of guys overthink this shit. You can drive yourself crazy just like focusing on all these minute, largely irrelevant details. It really doesn't matter. Like, I just have okay, after we get off this live stream right now, I'm gonna check my phone. I'm gonna have, I'm part of several group chats, one marketing, one for my business. Check those group chats, answer everything. Probably some girls are gonna text me and respond to them. I might run through my Bumble and Hinge, answer everything, and then that's it. And then I'm probably gonna make another YouTube video or eat some food, fucking walk my dog, and then maybe before sleep I'll check, run through everything again. But I'm not gonna drive myself crazy, like trying to figure out the perfect time for every girl. Okay. Said, hey, trouble, and the girl answered, did someone call me? What should I say? Yeah, so this is just basic flirting, I would say. Yes, comma, me, wink with a winky face or something like that. Okay. I work with a guy, 28, and he has a smoke show of a sister. Slid in the DMs, all was going well, gave her my number, said a day to hang out. When I asked for the address, she never answered. She thought. So I would just be careful with that, because is the guy cool with you going out with a sister? Like, you don't want to, are you guys friends, for example? Or is he just a coworker? Like, if you guys are friends, you don't want to jeopardize the friendship, right? Just to bust a nut. But if some guy you don't really give a shit about, or he's cool with it, again, why did you get her address? Are you going to her place? What exactly is the context here? Was the date set up for her place? Were you just picking her up? What was exactly situation here? So yeah, I would need to know these details to give you a concrete answer. But generally speaking, you just follow up with a little bit of a takeaway. If you're too nervous, I'd understand, or something like that. What's your suggested approach for texting Asian girls that are kind of fobby and prude when I try sexual? Yeah, so with fob, so I mentioned this before, with fob Asian girls, don't sexualize over text. It's not going to be effective the vast majority of the time. My approach for texting fob Asian girls is to be stupid fucking simple. Just keep your text game as simple as humanly possible. Don't overcomplicate things. Don't try to be funny. Don't try to be witty, and just set up the date, right? Just super simple, like you're texting like a 5-year-old or something like that. Extremely simple. I don't really know why you'd be texting a 5-year-old, but the analogy still applies. And then just set up the date with favorable logistics. There's a lot of anti-slut defense in Asian culture, and that's just going to backfire if you try to sexualize. Okay. Do you believe volume is the most important thing in the game? No, I would say, again, I kind of answered this question earlier, but it's I don't think there's one thing that's more important than others. I think it's sexual market value, game, volume, and they're all important. There's not one of these that's more important than the other. For example, you can run extremely high volume, but if you have dog shit game, it's not going to help you. You can have extremely good game, but if you don't run any volume, you're not really going to have any success. Do you think Stevie Wonder can see? Yeah, motherfucker's been faking it. I appreciate you answering the question. Totally know what you mean. I've definitely been the annoying guy, but I made a ton of steps to offer value in more recent years. Yeah, no problem, man. I'm glad to hear. I've offered an apartment in Toronto for people to pull to, and then going out with guys was a mission before everyone kept saying she's not to approach. Okay, so at one point, it's like, should I be doing this much work? I had a really tight friend group, but those guys moved away. Yeah, man, again, this, thank you, Alex. No guy responds as well as you. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm not trying to be a dick by any stretch, but I don't know. I'm getting like a slightly weird vibe that like you're just so focused on like making male friends that there's I think that might be part of the reason why you're having such a hard time with it. Sometimes the things that we're the most needy for and want the most are the things we have the hardest time achieving. So like, for example, me personally, like I have a good amount of friends, but I never really focus my energy on making friends. It just happens for me. So I know this sounds like I don't know, a little bit of a general question, but honestly, like, I don't know, I need to know you better to give you exact feedback on what you're doing wrong, in terms of like your male friends. So it's kind of hard for me to say. Do you think highly of women? Yes, I do. Well, at least the women that deserve to be think highly of. So I treat people as people. I don't really put men above women or women above men. Everyone's a person to me. And then if you are a person who, is someone who's cool or interesting or special or unique, I will think highly of you. If you're just a piece of shit who's a liar, a flake or whatever, or just, any number of things I don't value, I won't think highly of you. Whether you're a man or a woman or a dog is irrelevant to me. That's too generalized of a question. Some women are good eaters, but the same as men. Yeah, that's my mom trolling me. I saw there's a discount to PW Prayer. Can you say that what that includes? So right now there's not a discount. So that was we had a sale a few months ago, but whether there is a sale or not, it still includes the same thing. So when we do sales, you're still getting the same exact product, right? So it's not like we're changing the package at all. So right now the product includes everything you need to do to get laid on Tinder, and there's a whole bunch of bonus content. You have to take a look at the sales page. It's all there, but I think there's like 12 bonus pieces of content. Like we have like how to increase your fashion, how to get jacked, how to do this kind of game, that kind of game, how to get laid as an ugly, like you should have like so many, like how to get laid in Latin America, so many pieces of bonus content. So you'd have to take a look at that. All right, guys, we're going to do one last question. I want to pick a good question to end this off at. And what I mean is that I met guys organically that have given me their number, asked for mine, saying, let's grab a beer. And I don't really want to talk about meeting guys anymore. I feel like we are, this whole thing is about meeting girls. I don't know why we're focusing on meeting guys. Yeah, man. I do hope sincerely that when you're trying to meet guys, you're not talking to these guys about other guys you meet. Because I know for a fact that if I was to meet someone and they kept talking to me about their issue with meeting guys, I would not want to hang out with that person. So do memes or GIFs work with every girl? No, depends on the meme. Some girls will respond better to it. Some will respond worse to it. Just want to say thanks for your content on YouTube and Instagram. One of the best content I saw, even for very advanced guys. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. I know this guy in real life. He's a cool dude. All right, awesome, guys. So thank you for joining for the live stream. So next one's going to be really interesting. We're going to have Paradicus on from Day Game Seduction. He's one of the few guys in the community who I think is legit. And we're going to be also doing a lot of interesting live streams. We're going to have a lot of really cool guests on. Also, we have some really cool videos coming out this week. Definitely shit that you guys don't want to miss. Also, make sure you guys check out our Instagram at Real Playing Fire. We're always posting, really cool memes there, a lot of shit. And of course, the forums at forums.playingfire.com. And if you want to join the mastermind, go to playingfire.com and, click on, online dating blueprint and learn more. All right, awesome, guys. Thank you for joining. I know that we didn't get through every single question. There's just so many piling up, but we got through a good amount of them. We ran through at least like fucking several hundred questions. All right, guys.